So we're gonna talk to a few of these old guys.
Yeah. I'm hoping Dave Craig makes it because I want a reason to have him on.
Now that's where we differ.
I think we should have him on either way.
Well, yeah. So he can, I don't know, complain.
Laments.
No, Dave, you know what? In that way, he is always very gracious about heaping praise on others, and he's very humble and everything like that. It's just if you argue things like, I don't know. Just
stick of gum, slice of gum.
Yeah. How to say certain things, whatever.
Yeah. Well, we need to find a reason. We don't need a reason. He's just funny.
Hey, I see you got your Everett hat on today.
That's right. I had one on yesterday too. I bought a couple of them.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, you were talking about this. I forgot to shout out my buddy Tony Wolden, who just won a AAA state championship at Mount Vernon. He's the skipper there with the Mount Vernon Bulldogs. They're state champions. He actually, as a player in 1990, won a state championship at Mount Vernon. But and kind of big news because they have a prospect, and when we get closer to the draft, Xavier Nyans, I think he's a shortstop, but just a ridiculous player and seen as like maybe anywhere I've seen him ranked from like 23rd to like top 5, top 10, whatever, as far as prospects go in the draft coming up.
Must be the coaching.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Definitely the coaching.
Tony Wolden just bringing home as a player state champions, and
congrats to them
as the skipper there. So yeah, awesome. And you were out there watching the young fellas, and it just made me think of that because, that really is cool. I like the hat also, and then it sounds like it was just fun going out there watching those young guys. And
yeah, it's very for those that haven't been, and for whatever reason, I just had never been to a game to see the Aqua Sox. Never been in the stadium. So it was just very, Everett's not that far, but it feels almost kind of small town, kind of quaint. It was like being out at spring training. It was like being in that, but it's smaller than that stadium. Yeah. But how it's just kind of very personal, they do a great job of the presentation. The stadium's nice. And, hanging out there with Brent Stecker, who told me my alma mater, I guess, won the 4A, in baseball. Lake Washington. Yeah,
the Kangs.
I assume I'll trust Brent.
I'll tell you what, man. Next year, maybe we should take in some L-Dub and some Mount Vernon high school baseball games.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll just go be the old guys in the stands staring at people. Won't creep anybody out.
Fate brought us together in the men's room.
Oh, jeez. I'm not even going to try to explain it. Just Bob, let it hang.
This is somewhat of a relief for me because usually it's my stupid things that get said that are played over and over and over by Matt and Lefko. So there we go.
There you go. All right. Well, we'll talk with Brady Henderson. Mack Strong, El Hombre, will be with us at 5 p.m. We might catch up with a Mariner player. We'll see what goes on. But we got the Baltimore Orioles in town, fresh off of a series win. They swept the White Sox. Mariners won their series against the Minnesota Twins. So I think it's time to play another edition of Call It Now.
What's the most you ever lost on a coin toss?
It's time for Wyman and Bob to put their reputations on the line.
I need to know what I stand to win.
Everything. Call it.
Say it! Say it! This is Call It Now.
Good answer. I like the way you think.
All right, Dave, you ready? We haven't done this in a while. You might be rusty.
You mean like being right or just knowing what number to pick?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how you do here. And we'll start with just your level of optimism. How many games do the Mariners win in this series? It's a 3-game series. You got George Kirby, Emerson Hancock, and Brian Wu going as far as your starting pitchers go. So what say you?
I'm going to go away from the greed and the jinx and all that stuff and just say they're going to win the series.
Okay.
I think it's going to go 2-1.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they take 2 of 3.
Yeah.
Which 2, I'm not sure. I hope if I could pick which 2, I would pick Kirby to get a win, just to have him take that step. I want to see him really look like, okay, he's making strides. He's starting to find it. So I would hope that he pitches well enough for them to find a way to win. All right, so we're both going 2 out of 3. Cal Raleigh, who's just beyond hot. Homers in 3 consecutive games, 6 home runs in his last 6 games. So does he go over or under 1.5 home runs in this series?
I'm going to say over. Just he is hot right now. I mean, it's unbelievable. Mike talked to Mark DeRosa yesterday, and we had it on the show, and that yesterday during the show, they did the longest segment. They had like 11 different things on Cal Raleigh that they were putting up, like, OPS splits by handedness, and, both are over 1,000 this year, whereas he's been at like 696, 767, whatever. I mean, they just threw graphic after graphic up on the screen about what Cal is doing right now. And it wasn't, it wasn't like they were heaping a bunch of hype on it. It was just like, holy smokes. I mean, this guy's unstoppable right now. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say put the pressure on Cal, but I mean, he's just hot right now. You'd be, I don't know, almost foolish to bet against him, but I know it's a lot asking for 2 home runs during a 3-game series, but
home runs are hard to hit, Dave.
I know.
That's Paul O'Neill.
Yeah. No, that's terrible. Home runs are hard to hit.
It's hard to hit a home run.
Yeah.
Much less 2 or 3. So I'm going to take the under because of that. He makes it look easy. He's made it look easy. It feels like every time he steps up to the plate, you expect big things like we talked about. I think he's going to get 1 in the 3 games. I don't want to put that expectation on him, though. Yeah, he's just conditioned us to expect it, but I'll just take the under and say, all right, he's going to get 1.
You know what? Back in the 90s, I went to a game at the Kingdom, and it was the Yankees that were in town. Mm-hmm. And this was before the Seinfeld thing, but there was these 2 guys sitting in front of me, and I could just hear him talking, and the guy goes to the other guy, yeah, this guy, he's good for 1 home run a game. And so Paul O'Neill steps up to the plate, ding, hits a dinger, and I never forgot that. And then I
good
saw
for
him
1 a game, so he's going to have 162 by the end of the season.
Yeah, he's just throwing it out there. Like,
he's good for 1 a
you
game.
Can count on this guy. And like the first pitch. So, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of where Cal's at right now.
Yeah, you just expect it, and that's like the biggest compliment you can give him. You're surprised when he doesn't come through. Right. All right, so I'll take the under on 1.5 home runs. All right, George Kirby.
Oh boy,
does he go over or under 5 1/3 innings?
All right, I really want a quality start, which is what these 2 stats here that we're going to answer are teetering on. But, gosh, I'm just not. I'm nervous about it. I am. That's the one thing that scares me is Kirby just not. I mean, because we've been expecting that. So yeah, I'm gonna say under on this. Maybe it's going to take him a little while, But I should listen to our guy Ryan Roland Smith. But, we refer to him as a bogan. And you know what a bogan is, Bob? It's a person whose behavior, speech, or attitudes are considered unrefined or unsophisticated.
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't he say that was the Australian equivalent to white trash?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but listen.
So you're
honestly,
saying his opinion has no value? Is that what you're saying?
Well, he is a bogan, but I am going to say that that made me feel a lot better talking to Ryan Roland Smith yesterday.
Yeah.
That he thinks George Kirby, he'll always say 1,000%. I'm telling you. And what he said yesterday is he's going to be just fine. So I guess I'm going to.
The answer's when.
Yeah, I know. And so I'm a little worried about it. So I'm going to go on the under on that.
All right, I'm going to take the over. I'm going to say he's going to get 6 innings. I don't think he's going to be prime Kirby yet. I think there's still a few starts before he gets there where he's, 7 shutout innings, no walks, 8 strikeout, that guy. But, yeah, if he can give us 6, and we'll get into the runs here, I'm going to say he goes over 5 1/3. He's going to take that step. Have we heard about a pitch limit, Lefko?
For Kirby, no, not for this start.
Okay.
No, not
yeah,
sure
so
yet.
he's just ready to go. All in.
Well, there may be one. We may just not have heard
or we don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's true either way. We don't know what his pitch limit is if there is one. But I'm going to say 6 innings in this one. Now, this will determine whether it's a quality start or not. Over or under 3.5 runs?
Yeah, I'm gonna say over. I'm being negative here.
I don't know why you hate the guy so much.
Yeah, I would love to see 6 innings and 3 runs or less, but I'm going with the over there.
Okay.
Maybe it'll just take him one more outing.
I'm going to take the under. I'm going to show faith that he can give you 6 and 3. Just give me a quality start. Not asking for the world. You've been decidedly better throughout your career, so we're just taking this next step here.
I just hope after this is over that people are going to call me not a ball knower. He's not a ball knower.
How did you not get your predictions right? You don't know anything. Yeah,
especially when you hear what I'm going to say next.
All right, Jorge Polanco, he's been scuffling beyond scuffling. 3-game series. We'll see how often he's in the lineup, but figured to hit a game, and maybe 2 hits in 1 game, but does he go over under 3.5 hits total in this series?
He's a stock I'm buying, man. I mean, he has just been so cold. Was that first month like just pure fantasy? I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe it is. But I just think he's due for a huge comeback. So I'm gonna take Polanco on the over.
Okay, I'm gonna take the under.
Wow, we're
I want you to be right. I want to come in after this series and go, Dave, you were right to be optimistic about Polanco.
Don't believe Bob. He wants to be right.
I don't.
He wants to be right.
I never want to be right predicting negative things about any team I root for. So, yes, I hope to be wrong, but
You're
based
being
on
realistic.
what he's been, man, he just looks off. So we'll see. Maybe June will make him feel better. I know they've already played one game in June, and he took an offer, but we'll see what he does in this. How about Cole Young, who was the story in that his first game up, a base hit, and then the 80-foot fielder's choice that turned into the game winner. Over under 2.5 hits in this series.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to go over. I just remember Ben Williamson, watching him in Cincinnati for was that his debut, I believe? Because he had his parents there and everything. And, and I think he got 3 hits in that series, 3 or 4. But I just remember being so pleasantly surprised and everything. So I'm gonna stick with the young guy theme there and just say that it's going to be over 2.5 hits. He's going to get at least 3 in this series.
I'm wondering if he's going to be in the lineup all 3 games. Like if they're going to have him take a seat for a game, put Dylan Moore in there or something. I'm not sure how committed they are into having him in the lineup each and every day. We'll find out.
Well, once he gets those first 3 hits, they're going to continue to have him in there in the second game for sure.
I think just because of the uncertainty about playing time, I'm going to go under. I think he might get a couple hits. He might get 2. So we'll see. Again, hope you're right on that one, but I'm going to take the under. Julio, does he go over or under 4.5 hits in this series?
I'm going to go over with Julio because I feel like everybody is thinking that he's not the superstar. And I don't, maybe he's not. Maybe he's not going to have a period of time like Cal is having right now. But if he can just flatten out some of those ups and downs. But, yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good about him. I just don't I don't think I can ever talk about Julio without talking about how remarkable he is in center field.
Yeah.
And that's, a part that people don't really look at, but it's just fantastic. So, but I'm going to say that he's going to be a staple you can rely on for the rest of the year, and I'm saying over 4.5.
Yeah, I'm going to go with over as well. He's not hitting home runs certainly at the pace that Cal is. He's at a much better pace than he was last year. So he's hitting. I mean, he leads the team in base hits.
Yeah.
Julio does.
Right.
So I'm going to, whether it's an infield single or he laces the ball down the line or hits it out of the stadium, I think he'll come up with over 4.5. And then finally, will the M's be in first place at the end of this series?
Well, I was looking at the Astros. They're on the road at Pittsburgh. Not great. Not good. But, I think so. I think they'll maintain the lead. I think they can match, whatever. I'm hoping that the Astros will drop at least 1 in Pittsburgh because we got a half-game lead over them right now. So, I'm thinking that they're going to have the same type of success in Pittsburgh.
So they take 2 of 3, so it'll be static. It'll be
same
That's
place.
kind of where I was leaning, yeah. So I'm going to say yes. So we're both going with yes. They'll be in first place at the end of this series. So hopefully they make us look good here. And then, by the way, on that, so if they take 2 of 3, right now they're 3-3 on this homestand. It's 9-game homestand. So obviously, if they take 2 and 3, that would represent a winning homestand, 5-4. Does that feel like success? Yes, I love it. Or do you feel still a little disappointed how things went with the Nationals and the way they lost? Is that still lingering? How do we feel about 5-4?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still going to be disappointed about that Washington series just because 9-1, the very first game, because you come off the road, you lost 3 of 4 to Houston, and I think that one's gonna hurt for a while because the very next game they lose 9-0, and then they lose in extra innings 9-3. That's still kind of a bad taste in the mouth there.
Okay, I was looking at this thing last night from ESPN. They did a feature where they looked at everybody's June update 2025 top 10 prospect rankings for all 30 Major League Baseball teams. So they went, every team did their top 10, and the Mariners, you've got one guy who's already up, but their number 1 prospect, Colt Emerson, You've got Cole Young is their number 2. He's up with the big club, obviously. Johnny Formello, Harry Ford, Ryan Sloan, Jurangelo Senja, Michael Arroyo, Felnine Celestine, Lazaro Montez, and Ty Pete. Those are your top 10. So 1 is already up when Cole Young. You think we see any of these other players?
I sure want to. Obviously we don't know what these guys, where their headspace is. What are they too young or whatever? But you were talking about Las Montez, about just how huge he is.
Yeah.
Now does he have a? No, it was.
He's in single A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a long ways away. But
yeah.
I mean I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing Harry Ford at some point. But I don't know. I mean I
think we could.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Just because he's making a lot of noise, and he's just such a solid player, and also just emotionally, whenever you hear him interviewed or when we talk to him, it's kind of like his eyes are always at half mast. Like he's kind of like
he's chill.
Yeah.
Right now he's hitting .325 with a .437 on base. He's got 6 home runs. He's driven in 28. He's been on a tear. I think he was like the hitter of the week. They sent us the minor league updates. But yeah, he received an award, for the week or something along the lines of what Cal had, but at the minor league level. So he's been playing extremely well. And he's the one out of that group, because I don't see anybody else I think they would feel is ready to be called up at this particular moment. Roy, he would be the one. Harry Ford is one it wouldn't shock me to see him called up sometime soon.
Well, and also I wouldn't mind seeing Johnny Formello up, the center fielder, just so he can stop gambling with stocks in the mornings.
That scares you that he's trading stocks.
Yeah, I would love to interview him and say, okay, what percentage of the net worth that you have are we dealing with? Are we putting at risk here as far as the day trading goes? But no, I mean, I love that he has something that gets him through, because we always talk about guys when they're going through injuries, and what do they do? How do they occupy their time? I mean, it can be maddening especially when you're not with the team. It just sucks. So it's a good exercise, as long as he's being responsible about it.
All right, let's take 2.
Well, the Player of the Month awards are out for May, and it did not go to Cal Raleigh. It went to the 2 guys that should factor into the race for MVP around him. Aaron Judge wins AL Player of the Month. Shohei wins NL Player of the Month. And then AL Rookie of the Month. This was a guy that the Mariners saw at the very start of May, Jacob Wilson. Rumors are he won the award solely for the series he had against the Mariners.
Yeah. How do Judge's month, his May numbers compare to Cal?
It was, let's see, 1.251 OPS, slashing 364, 453, 798, had 11 home runs, and then they say here in just 26 games, he accumulated 2.2 WAR. So, yeah, he had a pretty good month.
Jeez. You needed a guy to have a superhuman month to take Cal out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame that happened. I mean, that could have happened at some other point, and then we could highlight Cal. Although, like I said, they did on the MLB Central. But Jacob Wilson is one of those guys that I love to watch. Like it's must-watch TV when he's at bat. He's hitting .355. Incredible. 15 strikeouts and 32 RBIs and a home run. But it's just amazing, the at-bats that kid puts together. And I don't know, does it annoy you that all the movement with him and everything?
I think it's interesting. Look, whatever works for you, if you can hit that way, keep doing it. It's obviously working. But yeah, he's an interesting looking guy with the way he picks up that back foot, and he's not quiet at the plate. He's very loud.
Bob, you're just old. You don't know that a lot of hitters do that.
Still looking for him. Still looking for him.
The guy texted him the other day.
Yeah, that was another brilliant text. Nailed it.
Oh, and by the way, so Ohtani hit his 23rd home run last night, so he couldn't even handle Cal being in the lead for more than a day. So
selfish.
Ohtani is tied with Raleigh for the MLB lead at 23 home runs. And then this is kind of interesting because it could relate to the Mariners. So the Diamondbacks put their big acquisition, Corbin Burns, on the IL with right elbow inflammation, and the Mariners head to Arizona next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. They're down there against the Diamondbacks.
Oof. That's good. I don't want him injured, but I'd rather not face the guy. He's one of the best arms in all of baseball. Just looking up his numbers now. Yeah, so far he's had a solid year, 2.66 ERA for this team. He had a 2.92 last year, a 3.3. Yeah, he's a tremendous pitcher. So the Mariners can slide by him while he's still recovering, then perfect. I like that. I don't want him hurt. Hopefully he recovers well after the Mariners leave.
Yeah, I guess it's somewhat comforting to see that other people are having struggles in that regard because, and as much as we thought about our starting rotation, if you just said 3 of the 5 are going to be out until now, I mean, that would be, you'd probably think it was going to be a down season. So they've done a really good job kind of scuffling through that. But yeah, I kind of, when it comes to pitching, I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Yeah.
But the guy is, he's put up 64 innings so far. I mean, he's been pitching a lot, and 11 games, 11 starts, 2.66 ERA. That's a shame.
Take Two is brought to you by Swedish Cyberknife. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife. Swedish.org/cyberknife prostate. Coming up, the success of the Seahawks defense is riding on certain players improving this season. We'll tell you who they are. Coming up next with Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
What a weekend.
Swinging a ground ball up the middle, base hit.
The Mariners' resilient shines.
A walk-off single. Julio scores.
The big dumper unloads.
Cal Raleigh does it again.
Tonight, the homestand continues with a first of 3 against the Orioles at T-Mobile Park. First pitch at 6:40 on the home of the Mariners and the AL West race. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, Riverside Roofing is offering $1,000 off a new replacement right now. That's huge. $1,000 off. Quite the incentive for homeowners to book their roof replacement right now. It's Mike Salk here, and it really is a great time to do it. These days are getting long, right? Sunsets after 8 o'clock. Crews can get your roof done quick. So take advantage now before demand spikes this summer, making those repairs costly and time-consuming as well. Here's what you got to do to claim your $1,000 off from Riverside Roofing. Book a free estimate from the website, riversideroofingllc.com. And then you'll meet with Brandon, that's Don's son. Just tell him you heard the message here on the radio station. $1,000 back in your pocket, and yes, a brand new roof over your head. And while you're there, ask Brandon about their 35 years of local experience, GAF Master Elite certification, which puts them in the top 3% of roofers in the nation, and of course the catch-all system, which they use to keep your yard and driveway totally free of debris like nails or shingles. Go to riversideroofingllc.com. Remember, Riverside Roofing is the roofing company you can trust.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
Allergy and sinus symptoms are annoying. They're frustrating and can ruin an entire day. They're also curable. I'm Dr. Stern with the Stern Sinus Center. We can free our patients of awful symptoms by testing and treating their allergies to simple, non-invasive treatments. Stop suffering from nasal congestion, sneezing, runny nose, facial pain, and even snoring. Let us help you get relief. Easily, quickly, and permanently. We're local in Federal Way and in Auburn. Come see us or book your appointment at sternsinus.com.
When you have really good leaders, it makes it easy.
Gia arrived at Lee Johnson after 10 years at another dealership.
You know your job, but then you have people who you can rely on to help you with the big stuff that you need that support from. And I've gotten that every day with my service manager, with our assistant service manager, with even like our GM and our GSM. The way that, we're now on the showroom together, we are so close-knit just as a department. My service manager here, he's always open to teach you whatever you want to know. He just wants everybody to do good around him, and if somebody wants to learn something, I'm here to do it. And I've never had a service manager like that before. They're really good at promoting from within. That's one thing that I've learned from working here. Is I see people start out as like a lot porter, and people like work their way all the way up to being a general manager.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
The home of the Mariners.
One hopper snared at short. On a quick hop by J.P. Crawford. That guy's a magician over there at shortstop.
Seattle Sports.
Download the Seattle Sports app.
If you want that summer body you've always dreamed of, then this message is for you, ladies, and you men too. Get rid of extra stubborn fat and address areas of loose skin around the waistline, chin, and under the upper arms with ProSculpt, the new one-day instant permanent fat removal and skin tightening treatment. Maybe you've tried the lasers, fat freezing methods, even those new pills, but without the desired results. ProSculpt is different. It's minimally invasive, performed while fully awake, gentle, yet powerful. Designed to target the waistline, chin, neck, arms, and thighs, ProSculpt uses FDA-cleared plasma technology to deliver immediate, permanent fat-reducing and skin-tightening results, all in just one visit. If you want that summer body this summer, then you must act now. Go to ProSculpt.com today to schedule your free consultation. Get $250 off. For instant, permanent fat reduction and skin tightening, visit ProSculpt.com.
This week's First Mark Challenge victory, well, it goes to Mike. Hey, Mike, why did you call First Mark Insurance?
My wife and I moved here from New York City and found this great guy. It got pricey, but because he was good to us over the years, we stayed loyal to him. But then one day I got an increase that was quite unacceptable. So I made one phone call. I didn't do any shopping. My wife told me to call First Mark.
Mike, were they able to save you and your family money?
Oh, yes. It was over $100 a month.
What would you tell others they can expect when they call First Mark?
The most competitive pricing that you can find. And they had terrific customer service. Even if you're on the phone with them, you can tell they have a smile on their face, so you can tell they love what they're doing.
Do you wish you would have made that call earlier?
I was just kicking myself as you were speaking because I didn't do it sooner.
Well, you just heard. Mike did it. My family did it. You got to do it too. It's totally free. Take the First Mark Challenge. See how much they can save you and how much better your coverage will get. Maybe you will be our next First Mark Challenge victory. Just go to firstmarkinsurance.com. That's firstmarkinsurance.com.
This hour is brought to you by Legacy Group Capital's Northwest Fund.
Wyman and Bob.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Text line is there for you at 866-979-3776.
And for some of you, it's not there, okay?
It's not their attempt at humor. Some of them, we're trying to figure out, all right, is this person a clown or is this their attempt at humor?
Mm-hmm.
And if we have to sit there and decipher, it's probably not coming across the way you were hoping. But yeah, give it a shot.
You are.
Jeff in San Diego. Meanwhile, the Seahawks out there, OTAs happening, and their defensive coordinator, Aden Durde's, speaking after OTAs yesterday, talked about a few different things. And Dave, I'm sure you love this. He talked about the linebacker group and the improvement that he saw out of one Tyrese Knight as the season progressed last year.
Yeah, I thought he made leaps and bounds, from like when he started in the Miami game and then he came back and played in the San Francisco game. He just felt calmer when he was out there. And, he's kind of like that. He's like, there's nothing too much for him. He goes out there, and I think the growth of it is just understanding why we call the plays, when we call the plays, what opportunities you have, what's your true job, what assignment you've got, and how do you make the plays you can make, and then how do you guide the players in front of you, setting them up, lining them up, him and EJ working on that.
Coach talks funny. Tyrese Knight is somebody I circled on my roster yesterday, just because, and it wasn't anything terribly specific, but it was just him, the way he was moving around the field. What it was confidence, and that's again, every player is going to go through that. Some more drastic than others, but your rookie year, you're kind of lost, and for him to do some of the things that he did was remarkable. So, yeah, I thought he looked great. He just looked like he's freed up. Almost like you can almost see like a thought bubble above his head last year when things would happen. He would just react just a step slow.
Yeah.
And still enough to get, he got the job done. But This year, it's just his movement around the field and everything is just, you see confidence. So, yeah, he was one guy that I got a chance to check out yesterday and just looked really good. And that's the important part of their defense right down the middle. And that's why, when Ernest Jones got here, that they corrected quickly because of the play inside. And Ernest Jones, EJ thought he really brought Tyrese Knight along with him. And I think you saw him talking to him between series and talking to him, out in the huddle and everything. And I think that really helped him. But now he's on his way.
Yeah, and programming note, we are going to be out there tomorrow at OTAs, and we'll catch up with another player and take a look at what they're doing out there on the field. See what's shaken from yesterday when we were out there watching. How much different it may look for some of these guys. But Durde was asked about just the importance of having the same guys at the inside linebacker spots heading into the season.
Hugely. I think it can help. It's obviously going to help you. That's where your starting point is. But ultimately, we all have to go back, and we have to learn it again, and we have to build it again. And it's like the continuity comes with the understanding of, okay, now when we're going through it, the formation adjustments, they're talking them, they're anticipating them, and they're understanding how to play fast. So, it's huge that we got the guys back.
Yeah, I mean, that's the communication and everything is – I just remember being out there, trying to get lined up right and just making sure, okay, what is my – what's my assignment? If it's a run, if it's a pass, my read, everything was all about me. Mm-hmm. And now you see guys that are talking about – instead of trying to just take care of your assignment, now you're taking that next step. Like, let's anticipate what they're going to do to this defense and how are we going to handle it and all the communication that goes on. And that's probably the biggest stamp that you see on a guy who is a rookie and isn't really sure is he's going to be very quiet. But you see Tyrese Knight out there talking, everybody's communicating and everything, and it just it looks different.
Yeah. Well, and the other part of this is you've got those guys you feel very secure with, as you just brought up, in Tyrese Knight and Ernest Jones. But what about the depth? Do you
yeah.
Who's behind them? Who's there that you feel like, well, all right, if they have to call on this guy, I'm fine with it.
Let me just pull up the roster here, Bob. No, I mean, it's okay. I just think, for their linebackers, somebody has to develop. And I'm sorry, I'm blanking.
You are pulling up the roster.
Yeah, no, there's one guy that I was looking at that I thought looked pretty good. Patrick O'Connell is a good backup. Mm-hmm. He's a Montana guy, and he's been around for 3 years. Jamie Sheriff is another guy that's been on and off the roster, and I see him playing outside sometimes. But I'm sorry, Drake Thomas is the guy I was trying to get to, who I liked last year. He had a couple of games where, he got in. I liked what he did in play action pass. He's not the biggest guy in the world. He's 5'11", 228, but it's his third year, and he made some decent plays. But I don't know. I mean, that's one position group that they didn't really address. Mm-hmm. I think they feel pretty good about who they have there. But yeah, I think if of all of those guys, Drake Thomas is the one that I would have to say is probably the closest to being a backup.
Two guys that I think we're curious about just seeing the steps that they take, and one that felt like he kind of took a step back last year was Boye Mafe. Didn't really have the year I thought he was going to have. Derek Hall had a nice year. I think he ended the year with, 8 sacks, 9 sacks? What did he end up? I'll look it up here. But Mafe, what did you think of his season?
I really expected him to take a huge jump going into last year. And what I saw...
Hall had 8 sacks, Mafe 6.
Yeah. Yeah, and I thought this was going to be his breakout year, and that we were going to see something that was really special, because I love Boye as a player. He is very, he learns almost every game you see him take a step forward. But he just wasn't as involved, and I don't know. I mean, I didn't see him there wasn't a lot of poor play. It was just that he didn't take advantage of some of the opportunities that I thought he could have on the field, and he didn't play as free as I thought he would. And but that's not a knock on him. I just thought, I think going into the year, that was the one guy on defense. I'm like, I'm sure he's going to take a big step. I think we're all going to be shocked by what we see, and it was a good season for him.
Well, this is a big season for him because it's a contract year.
Yeah.
Final year of his rookie deal, fourth year, second-round pick. So see what he does quickly before we play the sound. Just your thoughts on Derek Hall last year.
Yeah, Derek, I thought was very solid. And, he is he's
second on the team in sacks.
A playmaker. And, and he's just, I would say this. I think Boye Mafe has more upside than Derek Hall. Derek can be a little bit more on the mechanical side.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he is powerful.
Yeah.
He's really like, if there's one linebacker you would want to, I don't know, Uchenna's pretty close as well. He is a power guy, but, not a lot of like fast pass rush moves or anything like that, whereas Boye, can do the swim and the spin and all that stuff. And I think, Derek Hall is just more of just a masher.
Well, Aden Durde was talking about those two and just talked about the next steps for both of them.
I think for Boye, it's really affecting the game on every down and distance. Me and him talk about it all the time. Like, he does it, and, like, he really, like, brings the game to life on third down. Like, can he bring the game to life on first and second, just like he brings the game to life on third down? And then D Hall, it's just, like, consistency of play, being as efficient as possible. Sometimes D Hall's like a bull in the china shop. So, like, he wastes energy at times. So it's just, like, how efficient can he be? How can he bring his edge moves to life? And they're things we're working on.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying about him. Obviously, the coach knows better than I do, but he was talking about some of his pass rushes off the edge and just being creative and using your hands and feet, and that's always the first thing that you work on. But he's just a power rusher, man. But if you can start to sort of develop some pass rush moves as you go along. I just remember looking at Cliff Averill and watching his repertoire of just phenomenal. And really, I thought Boye Mafe kind of has that same way. He just didn't really put it on display last year.
All right, coming up, what do a couple of national MLB guys think about Cal Raleigh's start to this season? We'll get some outside voices taking a look at Cal. That's coming your way next with Wyman and Bob at Seattle Sports on 710.
What a weekend.
Swinging a ground ball up the middle, base hit.
The Mariners' resilient shines.
A walk-off single. Julio scores.
The big dumper unloads.
Cal Raleigh does it again.
Tonight, the homestand continues with a first of 3 against the Orioles at T-Mobile Park. First pitch at 6:40 on the home of the Mariners and the AL West race. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
Ready for some summer hoops? Register your team for the July 12th and 13th Everett 3-on-3 tournament presented by Boeing. 4 players to a team, 2 days of exciting action, 1 incredible tournament. Players of all ages and abilities are encouraged to come out and play. Go to everett3on3.net today and sign up your team. That's everett3on3.net. A special thank you to event major sponsors Amazon, City of Everett, Snohomish County TPA, and Tulalip Resort Casino.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy. Pretty much hands off, They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Progressive has great customer service, and it's easy to reach us because great and easy is the way to be. Like salads. Great for you, and so easy you can put any group of veggies in a bowl and it's a salad. A full carrot with a head of cabbage? Weird, but still a salad. One radish and a couple of green beans? Also a salad. 14 blueberries, half an onion, and a sunchoke? Odd, yes, but an odd salad. So contact Progressive's customer service by phone, app, or online. It's great and easy, just like salad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Do you know a woman that gives her all to the sports community, encourages diversity, and empowers those around her? Shannon Dreyer here. Seattle Sports is partnering with the Seattle chapter of WISE, which stands for Women in Sports and Events. We want to recognize a woman in our community, and we need your help in finding her. Nominations for the 4th Annual Women of Inspiration Award are open until July 11th. The winner will receive a donation to the cause of their choice. Nominate an inspiring woman at woiseattle.org.
The home of the Mariners.
It is gone! Cal Raleigh, 2-run home run!
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
This is Matt Coker from West Coast Men's Health. Has Viagra stopped working for you? Do you hate the side effects? If you've taken Viagra for any length of time, you already know that pills are not the solution to ED. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. No pills, no shots, no surgery. We can also treat Peyronie's disease. Our non-invasive treatment for ED is painless and highly effective. We have treated thousands of men just like you. Stop living with this problem and do something about it. Do yourself a favor, do your partner a favor, and call us today.
Call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com. HSA cards welcome and financing available.
Do you have a car you'd like to sell but don't want to go through all the hassle? With all the scams and security risks out there, more and more people are uncomfortable selling their own car. So how do you get the most money for your used car without selling it yourself? Stacy here with the answer. Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Not only will they purchase your car and pay you right up front for it, but it gets way better. Once they resell your old car, they share half the profit with you. The question I get most from my friends and colleagues is, what's the catch? And how can they offer this? It's super simple. All the money they save by not traveling to buy cars at auctions, like purchase fees, shipping, and travel expenses, is what allows them to offer this. They'd rather share that money they save with you than outside vendors. They encourage you to shop around, but if Wayscar Ford can pay you the same or more as their competitors and then share half their profit with you once they resell your car, why would you sell your car anywhere else? They've already shared over $800,000 with customers, and it's only at Wayscar Ford. That's wayscarford.com, Wayscar Ford in Auburn.
Wyman and Bob.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Coming up at 3 o'clock, Brady Henderson of ESPN.com will join us, talk some Seahawks football as he's out there at OTAs. We'll be back out there tomorrow broadcasting live from the Virginia Mason Athletic Center. So stay tuned for all of our coverage coming your way. Meanwhile, Mariners getting back to it. Orioles coming to town. Game 1 of the 3-game series tonight. Again, you can catch it all starting at 5:30 with the pregame show right here, Seattle Sports on 710. But we've been talking about Cal. Everybody's been talking about Cal. He's been on a tremendous run. And he's caught the eye of the national media and Mark DeRosa, your personal favorite, who was on yesterday, talked about why it's so remarkable what Cal is doing right now.
I mean, he's arguably putting together the greatest season that a catcher's ever put together, according to the numbers. So, yeah, I'm always amazed when my best friend in the world is Brian McCann, a guy who took a lot of pride defensively. I played with Buster Posey, took a lot of pride defensively, and the fact that those guys are asked to like carry an offense as well, it always blew me away. And to sit there and to see what Cal has done from an offensive standpoint, the adjustments he's made, and just the absolute ridiculous power numbers.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing the most physically demanding position on the field. Right. And, you know, that's why historically catchers aren't your best offensive weapons, and they wear down, and you know, you've got the notable exceptions. Obviously, you can go through the history and talk about, you know, whether it's, you know, Mike Piazza or whether it's Jorge Posada or whether it's Jason Varitek. There's certainly star catchers out there that were great offensive players. Now, some weren't, Piazza being most notably not a great defensive player. Cal's both. He's a fantastic catcher. He's a fantastic defensive player, and currently he's always been a power guy. But we talked about his numbers and his on base. I think throughout his career, he's been under 300 on base and, you know, just a little over 200 average. And he's bucking the trends big time on both of those right now.
You might remember this better than me, but they showed a couple of swings. One was on Sunday, the curveball that was down and away.
The 12-6 curveball.
Yeah, he just kind of flips it. Mm-hmm. And you go from that, and then there was another one. I can't remember if he's on the right side of the plate or not, but there was a high fastball.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Left side.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, how do you get to that? Like, you see where his swing starts, and then all of a sudden that thing is coming in at whatever it was in the mid-90s, and it was way at the top of the zone, and he's able to get to it. It's so quick. So, yeah, what he's doing is remarkable, and like we talked about earlier, that whole on the show MLB Central, they did a whole thing. They had Alex Avila in, and they were kind of breaking down. They had like 11 different graphics, you know, like look at his OPS splits by handedness. And it really, you look at just go last year, 696 versus left-handed pitchers and 767 versus right. This year it's over 1,000 on both. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's remarkable what he's doing. But the thing that stood out to me the most was what Mark DeRosa said. You know, when he goes to work, like, his first job is he's the catcher. He's managing the rotation. You know, he's making sure all the scouting reports for the pitchers. I mean, he's got to be the busiest guy. And now he's a media darling.
That's right.
He's on our show all the time. And, yeah, it's amazing what he's doing. And he's just comfortable. And, you know, I don't know. I wonder if getting locked up to a long-term deal might have had part of it as far as off the field. You kind of know what you're gonna do, where you're gonna be for the next several years, and maybe that's calmed him down, or maybe he's just growing into the player that he was always going to be.
Yeah, he was hitting well before he signed that deal.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, it's not like
he was
struggling, then he signed the deal, and all of a sudden he's hot. So he's just kept it going, and he's ascending. He keeps going up. So Jeff Passan on with Brock and Salk weighed in on the unexpected superstar that Cal has seemed to become.
Cal is what we all wanted Julio to be. And that is rare when you have a couple of prospects who come up, and one is so highly touted, and you know, he gets the superstar contract, he gets all the attention, he gets the story that's supposed to be written by Jeff Passan and never is. And then another guy comes in, and you know, he's supposed to be good. You got hopes for him, but he usurps him completely. And I'm not suggesting that Julio can't be that guy for a year or two, but Cal got there first, and it tends to be the guys who get there stick around there.
You're passing go third person there?
Yeah, I did hear that.
He
also used usurp.
Yeah. But he's saying what I was saying, that Cal has become the superstar we expected Julio to be. And I'm certainly not writing Julio off from being a superstar. He's had stretches like this. He's had stretches where we're going, what is going on? How do you stop this guy? He's hitting everything. We've seen that. You know, Julio just needs to be able to do it throughout the entire season. So we've seen him be a superstar on the field. He just doesn't do it from April through the end of September. So we'll see if Cal can be that guy. But he's carrying this team offensively. I mean, he's not all by himself. We talked about Polanco's ridiculous April and J.P. Crawford, who is actually kind of getting hot again.
Yeah.
Took a dip in May, and it seems like he's finding it towards the end and going into June here. We'll see if that continues. But Cal's been ridiculous in what he's been able to do. And again, his position is what makes it the most surprising. If he were a third baseman, a first baseman, you'd still be celebrating him and talking about how great what he's doing is. But the fact that he's doing it while catching and not taking a day off. I know he's had some DH days in there, but he has yet to have a full day off where he has not played at all.
Yikes.
I mean, even the day that he had off, he got brought in as a pinch hitter.
Yeah.
So, they're going to need to manage that. They're going to need to give him some rest. But the fact that he's played as much as he has, that he's been behind the plate as much as he has, and those numbers are going up, it's amazing.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, we know what a solid guy he is. And how
is he a nice guy?
He's
such a nice guy.
Some people care about that.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, he's just a solid individual, a human being, and you don't worry about him because I would think a lot of players are like at this point going, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I can go up to the plate and maybe not prepare and just go out there and let it fly, and he's not going to be that way. So yeah, I think the biggest concern for him, and even if he wasn't on this kind of pace, he's still such a solid member. I mean, he'd be one of the top 2 or 3 guys that you would say, hey, this is the core of the team. But yeah, I mean, the injuries, that's the only thing you worry about. But he's tough as nails, so it's not going to be anything that's going to be minor. But, yeah, I just hope that he stays healthy.
Would it have been funny after he signed that deal if he came in the next day, though, just to mess with people, like walking with sunglasses, big chain, his shirt buttoned down to the belly button.
I think we talked about that when he signed.
Yeah, just to mess with everybody.
What would you do if you saw Cal
come strutting in?
Pulling up in some sports car.
Oh, yeah. That'd be great. Hey, make sure to catch all the excitement at T-Mobile Park when the Mariners begin a 3-game series against the Orioles. Tonight is Bark in the Park night, a beautiful night for it. Tomorrow is Pride Month ticket special, and all 3 days are value games. So more information is available at mariners.com/tickets. Meanwhile, what did ESPN's Brady Henderson see at Seahawks OTAs yesterday? He's going to join us and talk about all of that. That's coming your way next with Wyman and Bob at Seattle Sports on 710.
Brock and Salk, morning 6 to 10.
We got John Smoltz with us. If you had to describe this Mariner team in one sentence, what do you think they are so far?
If the Seattle Mariners find a way to score runs, they're going to be in the playoffs, and they're going to be a dangerous team. When they get the confidence that they don't have to win 2-1, 1-0, that is a big-time difference when you're looking at a team that everybody knows just needs to score runs to win.
Brock and Salk, morning 6 to 10 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here from my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Hey, it's Dr. Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. Spring is here and it's time to make some changes. I have a plan that has helped over 4,000 people in the Seattle-Tacoma area lose up to a pound per day. No surgery, no exercise, no box packaged food, and no drugs or injections with potential side effects. We have a team of health coaches that can support you every step of the way. Schedule your free 15-minute, no-pressure phone consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com and also see our incredible before and after transformations.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here with Ryan Rowland Smith.
Thanks, Mike. I've been hearing for about 2 years now how you did the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic plan, and you lost a ton of weight. So I decided to see what the program was all about, and I'm so glad I did.
So far, I've lost 30 pounds, and my only regret is not starting sooner.
Let our proven system help you lose 20 to 30 pounds or more in just 60 days. You can start our program in person at our Kirkland office or remotely from anywhere you live. Schedule your free phone consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. That's eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary. Heading to the ball game? Don't mess with traffic and pricey parking fees. Make it easy and ride the bus. It's affordable and convenient. No stress, no hassle. And plenty of time to grab a hot dog before first pitch. Community Transit makes riding the bus fun, easy, and affordable. You save money on parking, and kids under 18 ride for free. See where they can take you and plan your trip today. Go to Community Transit at ctgo.org/homerun.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
June is Men's Health Month, and we want to place a special emphasis on prostate cancer awareness and treatment. Prostate cancer can be silent. It's important to get checked, even if you have no symptoms. Ask your primary care doc for a PSA screening if you're 50 or over, and 45 if there's a family history. If you or someone you know is diagnosed with prostate cancer, consider treatment at Swedish Cyberknife right here in Seattle. It only takes 5 short treatment sessions. Go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak high. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Mariners begin a 3-game series tonight with the Baltimore Orioles, who are in town coming off a 3-game sweep of the White Sox themselves. The Mariners sent George Kirby to the hill looking for his first win of the season. It'll be his 3rd start since coming off the IL. You can catch all of the action of this one beginning at 5:30 with the pregame. 6:40 first pitch right here, Seattle Sports on 710. Meanwhile, one other game of interest. The Astros are on the road against the Pirates. Paul Skeens going for the Pirates. So that sets up well for the Mariners. Hopefully the Astros will be handed a loss. They'll run Lance McCullers Jr. out there against the Pirates, that one in Pittsburgh. One note from the NBA, the Knicks made their deepest playoff run in 25 years. And in turn, they fired their head coach, Tom Thibodeau, today. The decision comes 3 days after they were ousted from the Eastern Conference Finals in 6 games by the Pacers. But again, furthest they advanced in a quarter of a century, and he is out.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
from the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Wyman and Bob.
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton.
Seahawks OTAs are happening. We were out there yesterday. We'll be back out there tomorrow to watch what's going on out there. But a man who's got a very keen eye on everything that's going on out there on the field does a great job covering the Seahawks for ESPN.com. He's with us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Our buddy Brady Henderson is here. How are you, man?
Hey, what's up, Bob and Mike? How are you?
Good to see you.
Wait, is it Bob? No, I talked to Mike on the phone. Wait, it's Bob and Dave, right? Like usual?
Yeah, the other guy here is Dave Wyman.
Hi, Brady. I'm Dave. How you doing, man?
Good.
Sorry, I just talked to. For some reason, I had it in my head that Lefko was filling in.
Yeah. Well, he leaves that indelible mark after you speak with him. It takes a while to shake it off, so it's understandable. But hey, want to get your take on what you saw yesterday. I know you wrote about it. We chatted a bit in the media room there. But what were your your overall takeaways from what you expected versus what you saw out there?
Yeah, I don't know if anything really ran counter to like any sort of expectations I had. I mean, just naturally when a team makes a quarterback change, your eyes are going to go to the new guy. So I did spend a good chunk of the day watching Sam Darnold, and I think it's fair to say that it was, an up and down, kind of day. I think, a lot of kind of people who weren't there probably took some of the observations and ran with it and just focused on, the kind of rough sequence he had in the red zone there where he threw 2 interceptions in the span of 3 plays. I mean, I would also say that, there were times where he held onto the ball too long, and that's something that, might have, kind of worked against him in those last couple games with Minnesota last year, and something that, he'll have to continue to work on here. But, I just think that, yeah, it's true. He did have an up and down day yesterday. There's no denying that. But it's also true that, it was June 2nd, and as Mike Macdonald was saying on the morning show, I mean, no one is expected to be perfect this time of the year, especially when, you're throwing to new receivers, you're learning a new offense in a whole new setting and everything like that. So, I mean, all of those observations were true, and they were worth pointing out, but I think they all sort of need to come with an appropriate amount of perspective.
Yeah, I mean, what if nobody had been out there for that practice? Nobody would have seen the interceptions if it was a closed practice, and so there was it was kind of a almost comical amount of panic over that from what I saw anyway. And then you saw Drew Lock throw a couple of really just some dimes, but yeah, I mean what I do when I go out there, Brady, as far as just players, I'll just circle a guy's number who, stood out in one way or the other. And, like I circled Cooper Kupp just because I'm like, it's so weird seeing him in a Seahawk uniform out there. But who are a couple of the people that stood out to you that you watched?
Yeah, I mean, Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith and Jigba, it's almost like, kind of feels like JSN has been around for so long because he's reached that point, at least in my eyes, where it's almost like you expect him to make a number of great plays every day, like it's almost not even noteworthy when he does that. And I just kind of found myself noticing that yesterday, that he's reached kind of that level where you just don't really think twice about it when you see it. I thought Cody White had some really nice moments, and there was one kind of cool sequence where I think he caught touchdowns on consecutive plays, and then the second one was right in the back of the end zone. And John Schneider just happened to be right there, and he gave him a fist bump. So cool moment. Like when you're trying to make a team as a receiver or any other position, it's always nice to make plays in practice, and it's even better to do it right in front of the general manager, like the guy who's going to be deciding whether or not you make the team. So I thought that was kind of a cool moment for Cody White.
That's right.
Hey, what did you make of Drew Lock? We were standing out there sort of oohing and aahing at some of the passes he made, and I was talking to you about it in the media room, Brady, and then, of course, that Bob Condotta out there just trying to shut me down, talking about, well, he's going up against this guy and that guy. And I'm like, I get it. I know he's not going up against the first stringers, but the ball that he dropped in there where you had the sideline and the defender on the other side, there's only one tiny spot he could have put the ball and he put it there. So the pass was still a brilliant pass. What was do you qualify it with, okay, he's going up against second stringers, or how did you feel about what you saw from Drew Lock specifically?
Yeah, I thought he had a good day. I mean, there was also a play where I want to say he kind of had a nice, floating pass to Marquez Valdez-Scantling in the end zone. So I can't remember who exactly he was going to there, but I thought Locke did have a good day. And that throw you're talking about, I mean, remember, he's moving to his left and, not quite running full speed, but running fast enough to where that's a very difficult throw, I would imagine. I've actually never tried it because I've never played quarterback, but I would imagine that that's a really difficult thing to do, to be running to your left and then, kind of in one motion, torque your body back to the right to throw on the move like that. And that wasn't like a 10, 15-yard throw. That was I don't know how long it was, but it was a deep ball, and the receiver Stevenson held it in right before. So, yeah, I mean, I think you always take into account who they're going against, and this is, I think, also a time of the year that is probably more set up for offensive skill players to thrive, just because you're at the time of the offseason where you're really not, defensive backs are a lot of times kind of told to really be careful about contesting balls because they're not, there's not supposed to be any contact this time of the year. So you end up seeing, a lot of plays that in an actual situation or even in training camp, a guy might make a more aggressive play on a ball, but you just don't see that this time of the year. So that's something else to take in mind. But at any rate, it was a good day for Locke. And I think the other interesting aspect of that play we were talking about where he's rolling to his left is you're going to see a lot of that in Clint Kubiak's offense. And this is an offense that really, just based on his history and I think based on, the kind of quarterback they have now with Darnold, is you're going to see them get out of the pocket on design rollouts like that. And, last year, so after they hired Kubiak, I put together this chart just based on his tendencies and looked all this stuff up in our fancy database at ESPN. And last year in New Orleans, they ran the third highest percentage of pass plays outside the pocket. And, the idea there is when you move the pocket, you help your offensive line out. And, it's a lot harder to get that guy down when he's a moving target and he's not just, sitting back there, and you're not just asking your offensive linemen to hold up in pass protection. So you're going to see them move the pocket quite a bit this year, and I think that was a good example of that.
That's a great stat, Brady. Some of those are just interesting, but that one is really reveals a lot. I mean, that he's an offensive line friendly coach, basically. I was talking yesterday also about the play action pass and how hard that is on linebackers and everything, and so that's great stuff. What about positions where you think they might need to add, Brady? I'm looking at corner for me. I'm not sure about inside linebacker. We just talked about that, and as far as backups go there, I don't know if you agree with those two, but where do you see that maybe they might need to add a little bit to this roster?
Yeah, those are two of them right there, and maybe another veteran offensive lineman, depending on how some of those younger guys look in the competition at right guard, and but yeah, cornerback. I would think that I think most fans would probably think that offensive line is still their biggest need. I think they would view it differently and say that cornerback. And that's why you've seen them bring in Shaquille Griffin and Rasul Douglas for free agent visits. So they've definitely had their eyes on veteran cornerback. And I do think that they still want to add to that position. And maybe not a guy that they would bring in to automatically serve as the number 3 guy, but at least somebody to compete with Josh Jobe for that job. And so that could be sort of the hang up. The reason why they haven't signed a guy yet is maybe because they don't want to pay that guy obvious starter money, just because I would imagine that they would prefer to give Jobe a crack at that starting job, and you don't want to pay a guy $5 million to ultimately be a backup. So I would imagine that could be part of what the hang up is. But Jobe, I thought, had a nice day yesterday. He had one of those interceptions of Darnold in the red zone, and it was it was a pretty nice play, kind of while running out of bounds. And that's the other thing I think that's worth noting about the Darnold interceptions is that it wasn't like a situation where you watch it on replay and you're like, how did he not see that guy standing right there? In both cases, it was the defensive backs making pretty nice plays. First Julian Love in the back of the end zone, and then that one by Josh Jobe.
Hey, what is your take on Kenny McIntosh? He's a guy that Dave and I talk about all the time. Every time we see him, we get an opportunity to see him, he flashes. yet obviously we're not seeing every practice, so I don't know what he's not doing or what it is coaches, like or don't like, but he doesn't, even when there's been injury, he hasn't gotten a ton of opportunity. How do you see his future shaking out with his team, and just your opinion of what you've seen from him when you've seen him?
Yeah, I mean, everything you just said there, like really talented. And I think I remember John Schneider, I want to say that after they drafted him in the 7th round, I can't remember if this was just Schneider relaying what he had said or if they actually played like the conversation, but he told him that, you're way more talented than a 7th round pick. And we've seen that. And so when that's the case, you got to ask yourself, okay, well, why did a guy who's way more talented than the 7th round fall all the way to the 7th round? And that, I suppose it could be a matter of, preparation, or he just did not have a good spring, like during the pre-draft process, ran a slow 40 time. And so, yeah, I think that the fact that he still hasn't really forced his way onto the field, it's not really a talent issue. So it just does make you wonder, I think, if the trust level with the coaching staff is there. And, look, they drafted another running back in the 7th round this year. So as talented as Kenny McIntosh is, I don't know that he's any sort of lock to be that 3rd running back. But, certainly it's not going to – if he doesn't win that job, it's not going to be because he's not talented enough. I mean, he can do it all. And I was impressed in the preseason last year where, for a guy who is not a big running back, I thought he ran with some pretty nice power and some kind of relentlessness. And so he's a fun player to watch. He also had that, long touchdown run that he broke off, which, it just kind of speaks to the fact that he's too talented to not be playing, in my opinion.
Hey, have you gotten eyes on Elijah Arroyo yet? I've gone out there twice, and both times I'm like, I gotta watch this guy because he's amazing. The stats, I mean, as far as his weight and height go, and then his speed, I mean, it's pretty incredible. Now I don't think he's much of a blocker, and of course we're not going to see that evidence of that at all here in these mini camps, but. If not Elijah Arroyo, because I just think he's kind of an interesting draft choice. Who are some of the guys that have stood out from this draft class?
Yeah. I mean, it's really it's hard to like stand out as an offensive lineman this time of the year when they're not really blocking each other. They're not even in pads. So I mean, just from a look build standpoint, I mean, Gray Zabel looks every bit of a 1st round pick. Yeah. But you just don't, I don't really spend a whole lot of time watching those guys this time of the year because you're just not going to learn a whole lot. But I mean, speaking of Arroyo, I agree with what you said there. He stands out just from a size, speed perspective. Moves really well, 250 whatever pound, 254 pounds. And remember, he did not run a 40 at the Combine or at Miami's Pro Day because he was coming off of that knee injury that he suffered at the Senior Bowl. And but, as I think Schneider was telling you guys a few months ago during the show, sometimes like nowadays the GPS times can be even more telling than an actual 40 time just because that's what you run, with pads and a helmet on. And my understanding is I don't know the exact GPS time, but whatever it was, the Seahawks felt like that would translate to about a 4.52 or a 4.53 40, which for somebody who's 6'5", 250 plus pounds,
yeah,
that's incredibly fast. I mean, just for perspective, Noah Fant I think ran a 4.5 40 at a little bit smaller frame at the Combine the year he was coming out. So that's a very good combination of size and speed.
Brady, before we let you go, just some of the guys that are coming up on contract years. We were talking about Boye Mafe, Riq Woolen, who else? Ken Walker. Who do you think's the one that's under the most pressure? Like, this is where you got to prove you're worthy of her. I think some guys we feel like, yeah, they're worthy of it. They'll probably get a deal at the end of the season, barring a complete faceplant. But who do you think it's most crucial to going into this year?
Well, I mean, I think I'll answer this a little differently. I think Cross is the most likely to get a deal done. So if you're talking about, guys after this year who they may look to extend, I mean, I would say Walker. And I mean, maybe Abe Lucas, I would probably put him in that category too. just because I think in both cases, I don't know, I could be wrong about this, but I would imagine that the team would, just because of some of the durability and injury concerns with both of those guys, I imagine that the team would want to see them, do it for a full season, like with Lucas, just to make sure that that knee injury is fully behind him. And with Ken Walker, to make sure that he can play, not that, a lot of running backs don't play full seasons just because of the demands of that position, but just to show that he can maybe push through some of the injuries that he's had in past and to show that, he is a good fit for the kind of, running game that they're going to be having this year. And so those would be two guys. I think the most likely guy to get a deal would be Cross, followed by Mafe. And then I would be looking for Walker and Lucas. Probably it would seem more likely that would be something they would look to do next offseason.
So Woolen sitting on the outside of that group then?
Yeah. I have not gotten the sense that they view him as a guy that they want to resign, at least not right now. I just think with some of the inconsistency that he's had, I don't see that. I just have not gotten the sense that that's a guy that they're really planning on paying anytime soon.
Brady Henderson of ESPN.com has been our guest. Brady, as always, we appreciate it, man. Great stuff, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, you bet, Bob and Dave, as well as Mike.
You want to say hello to Matt, too? He's here.
Hey,
Hi, Brady. Yeah, he was just trying to get the name right, I mean, gosh, all these years, Brady.
We appreciate it,
You're
man.
the best, man. Thanks, Brady.
All right. Thanks, guys.
There you go. There's Brady Henderson. If you guys didn't catch all of that, you'll be able to find it on the podcast page after the show at seattlesports.com. Meanwhile, Coach Macdonald was on with Brock and Salk this morning talking about a few different things. And apparently they asked him about whether anyone but Darnold could win the starting job at that quarterback spot. And here's Mike Macdonald's response to that.
This is a crazy question. There's just not going to, Sam's our starting quarterback. We love him. He's doing a tremendous job. I think it's funny that the media is out there for the first day and all of a sudden they know exactly how good we're going to be and how good all the players are and all the tempos. We don't even put on pads yet. We haven't made one tackle. And it turns out in practice, it's a great way to build culture by letting guys know that they can't make mistakes. That's exactly what we're shooting for. So go out to practice, be tight, make sure you don't make a mistake because then God forbid, you're the worst player of all time because you made one bad throw or one bad decision. It's that is not what we're trying to build. We want these guys to go prepare the right way, and then when they go out on the practice field, go freaking let it rip, and then we'll go fix it. We'll go. We got time. It's June 3rd. We'll go. Okay, they're going to get plenty of reps. We'll get those things fixed. I mean, Sam made a lot of great throws yesterday. He's gashing us on 3rd and goal to start the day out too. So yeah, that was kind of a crazy question.
You think you really want to go, what a stupid question.
Yes.
Are you being serious with that question?
Yes, I do. I do think that's what he – there's an intensity about Mike Macdonald and then just, protecting his players there. That's funny. It is kind of weird. I mean, look, we're all going out there. You go out to the camp, nobody's wearing pads, okay? And you're just looking for anything to talk about, right?
Yeah, anything that stands out one way or the other.
Yeah, from the media standpoint. So yesterday, I pointed out that I'd never seen an offensive line group do a fumble recovery drill.
Right.
Is that groundbreaking news? No, it's not. You're just looking for little things. So
I pointed out they were running around with sheets of paper in their hand,
sheets of paper too.
And I think that is groundbreaking.
I forgot to ask Brady that. I was going to ask him about that. No, it was funny because Bob was like, "Have you ever seen that before?" And I'm like, "No." And this is going back to Worcester High School, 1978.
We didn't have paper then.
No. I've never seen that before. So, everybody's just looking for something. So, I mean, that's the role the media plays. I think it's a perfect reaction by Mike Macdonald, by the way. And the other thing it brings about is that he is a very, hard-nosed, old-school guy about the contact part of it and how you have to get pads on and how important that is. And especially in the biggest concern probably on a team in a long time, the offensive line of the Seahawks teams going into the next year. I mean, this might be the one with the biggest question marks. Hopefully they're filled as far as the offensive line goes. But you really can't judge anything until you get to full contact.
Yeah.
With the offensive line. So I love the stat that Brady brought up though about the moving pocket, because I mean that's just, I mean a lot of times, you know, you're asking these guys to block these huge defensive tackles and, you know, a talented defensive end edge rushers that are, you know, just moving the pocket, play action pass, stuff like that, just to keep them on their heels a little bit. Really is so effective. So I thought that was great info from Brady. But yeah, I mean, I just, you can't really tell that much. So I like the other thing about Mike is that I heard another clip from him where he's like, yeah, I know you guys want me to talk about, it was something like this, I'm paraphrasing, but I'm talking about the injuries, but I don't have to tell you, so I'm not gonna.
What, from back away last year?
I think he did it the other day, too.
Oh, did he do it again?
Yeah. So
because he said that last year, what he's like, I don't have to tell you.
I don't have to tell you, so I'm not going to. Yeah, and then I think he was asked a similar question yesterday, but yeah, he's an old school guy that. You know, he gets kind of pissed every once in a while with.
You could hear it there. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I liked it too.
He did answer that today. Here's his answer on that.
Yeah, I'd love to give you an answer on that. I just don't really want to right now.
Okay, perfect.
So I really wouldn't love to give you an answer.
Okay.
I just putting a timetable on those guys right now probably isn't fair to them.
Okay, there we go. Get a couple shots in there, Coach.
Who was he asking about? Do you know?
They asked about Uchenna, Torrey Horton, and Ernest Jones if they'll be fully healthy.
Okay.
All right. I'd love to give you an answer. Actually, I wouldn't love to give you an answer.
Yeah. No, I don't have to. Yeah, it's at one point he did say that. I'm not answering because I don't have to.
I like how he started this one out, though.
You can't make
This is a crazy question. There's just not going to, like, Sam's our starting quarterback.
It's a crazy question. He wanted to say something else. You could hear it.
Yeah.
You could hear it.
You did. Yeah. I've seen him, you know, get pissed out there a couple of times. And it's not like he's screaming and throwing things like Lou Piniella or anything like that. But, yeah, he has an intensity about him that is just right.
All right. Coming up, there's one name gaining momentum for the Mariners at the trade deadline. We'll tell you who that is coming up next with Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
Brock and Salk.
Coach Macdonald, is there anything that could happen other than an injury between now and the beginning of the season that would lead to a different quarterback?
This is a crazy question. There's just not going to, like, Sam's our starting quarterback. I think it's funny that the media is out there for like the first day and all of a sudden they know exactly how good we're going to be and how good all the players are. And it's like, we don't even put on pads yet. Yeah, that was kind of a crazy question.
Brock and Salk, morning 6 to 10 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Dave Wyman here for Harley Exteriors, a local company serving all of Western Washington for 23 years. Olympic Series windows are offered exclusively by Harley Exteriors, manufactured right here in Washington, specifically designed for our Pacific Northwest homes and climate. This is the window you want. It looks absolutely stunning, much better than a traditional vinyl window, and these windows last up to 60 years. They're going to lower your energy bills and provide year-round comfort. They come with a double lifetime, fully transferable warranty, meaning not only are you covered for glass breaking or damaged seals, it's going to help your resale and home value. Very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest up to 12 months for qualified buyers. And this June, buy 3 windows and get 1 free, plus an additional $200 off your entire project. Think Harley Exteriors for windows, doors, and more in the Puget Sound. Call 8-333-HARLEY or go to harleyexteriors.com.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
And 6/22/25. New customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Need a new roof now? With State Roofing and Exteriors, you can get started with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's right. Protect your home now and pay later. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Progressive knows road trips without your pet can be tough.
Hi, this is Next Stop Dog Boarding.
Hi, it's Scott again. How's Squeaks doing? You can tell if he's stressed by his eyebrows. Oh, and his breathing should sound like this.
Scott, Squeaks is exactly the same as last time you called.
Okay, let's talk in 20 to see if anything's changed.
With Progressive, your pet is covered up to $1,000 in vet bills in case of a car accident. So next time, you can take your pet with you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
Hey 12, Steve Rabel here, voice of your Seattle Seahawks. The wait is over, and tickets are on sale now for our historic 50th season. This season is going to be legendary, with past, present, and future colliding at Lumen Field. Get your tickets today at Seahawks.com/tickets.
Get rid of stubborn fat and address areas of loose skin with ProSculpt, the simple one-day permanent fat reduction and skin tightening treatment. Book your free consultation at ProSculpt.com.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your team and focus on your future. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Wyman and Bob.
Weekdays 2 to 7
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Before we know it, the trade deadline will be here, Dave. It's right around the corner.
Are you expecting to be overly pleased or disappointed?
I expect to be underwhelmed.
Underwhelmed.
If we're just going by history, I don't expect them to pull off a big deal, but they might. Always allow for that. We'll see what the Mariners may do and where they're sitting at in the standings. More importantly, are they going to be, where they are now currently within a game of first, a game ahead, a game up, game back, a couple of games where that'll dictate a lot of what they do or don't do. But Jeff Passan wrote a big trade deadline piece about what his predictions for teams and what they may need to do. And for the Mariners, he wrote their objective is to land an impact infield bat. And he wrote best fit Ryan O'Hearn. So for those that don't know, he's an outfielder, though, is he not?
Well, he plays first base and right field.
Right field, yeah. But he's playing for the Orioles, who are in town, so we'll get a close look at him. He's having a great season. He's going to be 32 in next month. He'll be 32 years old. Currently hitting .329 with a .416 on base, .535 slug, .952 OPS. So he's having a nice season so far. He's not a huge power guy throughout his career. His career high was last year, 15 home runs. But he's also not a guy. He played the most games he's ever played last year, 142. Prior to that, he's 112, 67, 84, 105 back in 2019. So he's not getting 160 out there. But his power numbers, okay. Hitting for average, getting on base. This year he's got 9 home runs, 22 runs driven in. So, yeah, if they wanted to swing a deal for somebody like that, I would be certainly listening to that. And he said what to know about the Mariners. This is from Jeff Passan's article here. He says the Mariners are going to be aggressive at this deadline, and they have the minor league capital to swing a deal for anyone. They're plenty willing to get creative, too, but O'Hearn is an excellent fit for the team that has gotten sub-replacement production from Rowdy Tellez and Donovan Solano at first. If O'Hearn isn't the answer, the Mariners could turn to Jerry Naylor, or Josh Naylor, who, like O'Hearn, is a low strikeout, high average power hitter. Seattle already looks the part of a dangerous October team. Then he talks about if Logan Gilbert returns healthy, George Kirby, Bryce Miller shake off post-injury rust, and a lineup that starts J.P. Crawford, Julio Rodriguez, O'Hearn, Cal Raleigh, Randy Arozarena, and Jorge Polanco is as good as Seattle has been since the 2000s.
Yeah, and that's why I just think it's too perfect. I mean, I was looking at Ryan O'Hearn, the guy, he's first off, you look at first baseman and right fielder. I mean, those are the two positions where, we don't really know what's going to happen there. And really going in, I mean, was there anyone that was a clear-cut winner at first base, or was it just kind of, I mean, I don't think we were ever really sure about that, but yeah, and then, he's batting for average .329. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see the Mariners making any big moves. I feel like they think they can get it done with what they have, kind of like they did in the offseason. But I would love to be pleasantly surprised. But, I mean, he was one of the guys that just kind of, based on, you mentioned he's not, and you always say that you got to get power numbers from your corners first and third, but his average is good, and he's got the 9 home runs, so it's not bad. So yeah, I mean, at first base has just not blown your skirt up this year. Nobody.
No,
really
I mean,
has.
it's been everything you've received out of first base is from Tellez. You throw Solano's name in there because he's played first base. He's given you nothing.
Yeah,
he's been an abject failure. It has not worked with him. He's driven in 2 runs the whole year. So it just, I don't know what they were expecting to get from him, but I've got to imagine it's more than what he's produced to this point. And passing on with Brock and Salk, explaining why he has O'Hearn as his guy for the Mariners.
The way that the 2025 season is going outside of Seattle, it's lining up about as well as possible for the Mariners and their trade deadline possibilities. The 2 teams I think worth keeping an eye on are the Orioles and the Arizona Diamondbacks, because Diamondbacks have Josh Naylor. And, I almost put Naylor's name in there for the perfect target for the Mariners to go out and acquire. We have seen their first base production this year. It is not great. They need another bopper in that lineup.
A bopper?
Yeah, that's not Donnie Barrels.
No, he's bopped nothing.
You know what, though? He's 173. He had 394 at bats just a couple of years ago and was 282. He's due, Bob. He's coming back. He's going to progress to the mean.
I would hope so, but I'm not going to cross my fingers, or I'm not going to bet on it, I should say. But I am crossing my fingers if he's going to be on the team that he produces. But just a little bit more on O'Hearn from Jeff Passan breaks down the qualities that make him a good fit.
Ryan O'Hearn, the first baseman for the Baltimore Orioles. They need another bopper in that lineup. And the notion that O'Hearn, who is batting .320-something this year, on base over 400, slug over 500, that the fact that you can add him and that it's not going to be a truly exceptional cost because he is an impending free agent. And the Orioles understand, hey, for rental players, there's only so much you can ask for. This is lining up very nicely for the Mariners to have options and possibilities. And I think they're going to be aggressive. I think they're going to go out there, and I think they're going to get a bat that the fans like and appreciate. And I think if they don't, that will be a tremendous disappointment.
I wonder why he thinks that.
Yeah, I was wondering that too, because in his article, he's got the 4 groups. Unloaders, which was like Pitt, Miami, the Angels, and then there were the tweeners that still not sure, like Arizona, Boston, and then holders was the next category. And I'm just, as I'm reading down there, I'm going, okay, where's Passan going to put the Mariners? And he put it in acquirers aggressively pursuing add-ons.
Yeah, well, they would be. I mean, if he's basing it on where everybody is now, yeah, they're half game up in first place, so you would assume they're going to acquire. But he's making it sound like they're going to make a monumental addition.
Well, and it's not just acquirers; it's like aggressive.
Yeah,
and I just, whenever it comes to that, I never think of the Mariners as being aggressive in that way during the trade markets and the Luis Castillo thing was a big deal. But other than that, they went out and they got a Rosarena last year.
Yeah.
That was fairly aggressive, but I don't know. I mean, O'Hearn, I felt like it matched up so perfectly, but there's other names out there like Bichette and Brandon Lowe, Luis Robert Jr. for the second year in a row.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened with Luis Robert Jr., but he was bad last year and he's bad this year.
Yeah.
So far, he's hitting a .177 with a .266 on base. He's got 5 home runs, 20 runs driven in, .286 slug. I'm not sure what's happened to him. I mean, this is a guy who hit 38 home runs in 2023, hit .264 that year with a .315 on base. Year before that, hit .284. He's hit for average. He's a guy that's got power. He's hit for average. He only played 68 games in 2021, but hit .338.
Yeah.
So what's happened with him, I have no idea, but I don't have it. I like his defense.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to unload the farm for Luis Robert Jr.
Yeah, I mean, and he had San Diego, the Padres, as being acquirers, like aggressively pursuing, and then of course he had an example, and yeah, Robert Jr. was the example for San Diego for the Padres. So yeah, I don't get that. I got it last year, but now after this year, I don't know that makes sense, but. Anyway, yeah, I was very interested to hear when I read about the 4 categories where he would have the Mariners, and I was pleasantly surprised that he thinks they're going to be aggressive. But I don't know, I don't see that, but maybe they'll surprise us.
Yeah, I hope he's right.
Is there a favorite of these names that you're looking at that you would?
Lowe has had much more. Oh, he calls O'Hearn a bopper, which I find interesting because, again, last year was his career high. He hit 15 home runs.
Yeah.
I don't look at him that way. Maybe he's just thinking about his potential. I mean, shoot, JP had, 19 the 1 year?
Mm-hmm.
He's not a bopper. He had that 1 year. So I'm not sure why he's saying that. You look at Brandon Lowe, he's had a year where, he's shown you, he had 39 home runs back in 21. In 23 and 24, he hit 21 in each of those seasons. So
those are decent.
Yeah, those are decent. 39 is the outlier there, but he's proven to be more of a bopper, to use his term. But he's another guy. He's 30. He's going to be 31 next month. He's got 11 home runs, 31 runs driven in this year. He's not a big average hitter. His career average is .245. He's hitting .242 this year with a .295 on base.
Yeah, and he's a second baseman and outfielder, so I'm not sure if he's right fielder or not, but yeah, so interesting names there. I don't know. I just again, I feel like the Mariners are probably going to stand pat, but hopefully Passan has some information.
I think they'll do something. I just don't know how monumental it's going to be.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Maybe add to the bullpen or something.
Yeah. They take a flyer on a Victor Robles kind of guy, a guy who maybe just hasn't realized his full potential elsewhere, and the team's let it. I don't know. I hope to be pleasantly surprised. Coming up, Cal Raleigh is having a historic season, but what's it going to take to be mentioned in the same breath as the upper tier of superstars? We'll get into that next with Wyman and Bob at Seattle Sports on 710.
What a weekend.
Swinging a ground ball up the middle, base hit.
The Mariners' resilient shine.
A walk-off single. Julio scores.
The big dumper unloads.
Cal Raleigh does it again.
tonight. The homestand continues with a first of 3 against the Orioles at T-Mobile Park. First pitch at 6:40 on the home of the Mariners and the AL West race. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman for Swedish Cyberknife, and a few weeks ago we had a guy named Andy Ryder. He's the mayor of Lacey, and he's also a Swedish Cyberknife patient. We had him and Dr. Landis from Swedish Cyberknife in studio last week, and a couple of things that stood out about their conversation about Swedish Cyberknife. Number one was treatment. I mean, it only takes 5 sessions. Andy was able to complete treatment in 1 week, Monday through Friday, while continuing to work full-time, and each treatment session lasts less than an hour. So he was able to remain comfortable during treatment. You can wear your street clothes in. Didn't experience any side effects other than just mentioning being a little bit fatigued, but you compare that with other treatment methods where you have to have surgery or have a catheter. It's night and day difference with Swedish Cyberknife. We talk about building a sports team and trying to find stars. Swedish Cyberknife truly has done that. It's an all-pro roster of doctors and world-renowned experts in their field, just like Dr. Landis. Swedish Cyberknife treats patients from all over the state. And also, you don't need a physician referral. You can reach out to them directly. So if you've been diagnosed with prostate cancer, go to swedish.org/cyberknife prostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers, plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us, plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
You have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility, not just where your insurance company tells you to go. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. With over 25 years of auto repair work, they'll exceed your expectations.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
At Accurate Auto Body, all their work is performed by certified technicians, only using OEM parts to guarantee the safety of you and your family. For the best in auto body collision repair and customer service, give them a call at 425-883-2450 or AccurateAutoBodyWA.com. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
we meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
The home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Cal swinging a drive, deep to right field.
Every pitch of every Mariners game is on the Seattle Sports app.
Well, this week's First Mark Challenge victory goes to Norm. Norm, why did you call First Mark Insurance?
Spending too much money on insurance, and it just kept on going up higher and higher and higher. And this last time I did the First Mark Challenge.
So they were able to save you some money, Norm?
Oh, yeah, at least $2,000 a year.
What?
At least.
Wow. You ever feel like, man, I wish I would have taken that First Mark Challenge earlier?
Yes. I mean, $2,000 I could have saved a year, over probably 4 or 5 years. Wow.
How would you describe their customer service?
Fantastic. Beyond expectation. Call First Mark. They treat you like a real person, that they have your best interest in mind.
Norm did it. My family did it. You got to do it. And it's totally free. Go take the First Mark Challenge. See how much money they can save you like they did Norm, and how much better your coverage will get to. Maybe you will be our next First Mark Challenge victory I get to talk to. Just go to firstmarkinsurance.com. First Mark Insurance. They work for you.
Guys, tired all the time? Gaining weight? Low drive? These aren't just signs of aging. They could be low testosterone or other underlying issues. This June, for Men's Health Month, Revive Men's Health in Seattle is offering a free comprehensive wellness panel, a $400 value. It checks your testosterone, blood sugar, cholesterol, kidney, liver, thyroid, and heart health. No guessing, just answers. Over 100,000 men have trusted Revive to get real results. More energy, better sleep, improved mood, and confidence that shows. If something feels off, don't wait. Take control and protect your long-term health by knowing your numbers. This offer ends June 30th. Schedule your free comprehensive wellness panel today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Feel better, live stronger. Start now.
Wyman and Bob.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Text line is there for you at 866-979-3776. You guys can weigh in on whatever is going on, whatever you've got on your mind. Again, the Mariners get set to get the shindig underway against the Orioles, who are in town for a 3-game series. George Kirby on the hill tonight. But the question remains about Cal and the MVP. Does he really have a chance? Is he going to be in the thick of it? I'd ask Dave about it, but he's not here.
I was going to say, the question on my mind, Bob, is where's Dave Wyman?
I don't know where he went. He just decided to go on walkabout. Okay. Oh, he's back. Hi, Dave.
You know, you could have covered for me.
Welcome to your show.
I found myself in a conversation in the bathroom, much like you the other day.
What you're talking about. But the question is, what is it going to take for Cal to win the MVP and be mentioned in that same breath as Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani? Well, Jeff Passan weighed in on that with Brock and Salk.
Aaron Judge needs to get hurt. Like, I wish the answer were different, because in any other year, you look at what Cal Raleigh is doing right now, and it's like, how can't this guy be MVP? He's arguably the best defensive catcher in baseball and leads Major League Baseball in home runs and is as clutch as it gets. Everything about his game is just magnificent to watch, and yet he happens to be playing at the same time as an all-time great player who is having an all-time great season.
So I think he said at the beginning of that clip that Judge would have to get hurt.
Oh, did he?
I think it was a little. Here, take a listen.
Aaron Judge needs to get hurt. Like, I
was it Salk
with this devil laugh.
Aaron Judge would have to get hurt in order for Cal to win the MVP, according to Jeff Passan.
Do people not appreciate what Cal does, like, for what I call his regular job? I mean, behind the plate and just the grind, and looking at, they were showing a highlight on MLB Network of, some of his throwouts, some of the framing jobs that he does, and which, I don't know. I mean, you've been watching baseball longer than I have. It seems like he's one of the better pitch framers. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Why not? I get it that, Aaron Judge is just having a ridiculous season, but I don't know. I feel like people should appreciate more of what Cal does. It's like a totally different side of his game behind the plate. And I don't know. It's not like you see Aaron Judge. I mean, every once in a while they'll show a highlight where he's ranging down a pop fly, whatever. But I don't know what Cal does at, on the defensive side is just so much more impressive.
Yeah, I think, look, when you've got somebody like Judge who's been hovering around 400 for a good chunk of the year, and he's
with the Yankees,
he's within a home run of Cal. He's got more runs driven in. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, he doesn't deserve. He certainly does. Of course he does.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find a way to get Cal in there.
I know you are, and he'll get consideration if he can keep up this pace. Yeah. And we'll see if Judge keeps up that pace. There's still a lot of baseball to go. Mark DeRosa gave his checklist for how Cal could win the MVP.
Win the division, carry the Mariners to the playoffs, break Salvador Perez's record for catchers home runs in a season. And then I would say it's kind of 50-50 if he can get it. I mean, what we're seeing Judge do is, the stuff of legend. It's stuff only like Babe Ruth has ever done. So he's got his work cut out for him. But that being said, the respect factor of what he does on a nightly basis does not go unnoticed. Every player who's ever played in the big leagues knows how hard the catching position is and how much is asked from them from a defensive standpoint. So to turn around from both sides of the plate and give this team middle-of-the-order bat with the production he's doing, is just absolutely incredible.
Sal Perez, 48. I guess that's the home record for catchers.
Yep.
48, 121 RBIs. So, yeah, I mean, that's that's a lot to ask for, but, man. And I heard everybody loves Salvador Perez, apparently. He's like a super nice guy. And on the network show, they were saying, I don't know if I want to see that record broken because he's such a good guy and everything. But, man, maybe that's the case, and that would be just another –
But Cal's a good guy.
Yeah, we got nice guys here, too.
Yeah, I mean, look, Cal he's having a tremendous season. 23 home runs, 45 runs driven in. He's hitting .264 with a .379 on base. That's where he's at right now after 58 games. Aaron Judge, he's got 21 home runs, 50 RBI. He's hitting .391 with a .485 on base. I mean, he's hitting over 100 points more higher than Cal. So, yeah, look, we love Cal out here. There's no debate about that. But you can't objectively look at what Aaron Judge is doing and go, yeah, but that's not as good.
Yeah,
it just is. It's better.
And I think the average thing is really impressive. I think one of the most impressive players to me in Major League Baseball is Arias, just because he was. It was 2 years, I think it was 2023, when he was carrying a 400 batting average for a good part of the season. I think it was through July. And it just, I don't know. And to have that, to go along with everything else. But
yeah, you look at Judge has 86 hits on the season. Cal's got 56. He's got 30 more hits. The only category he trails Cal is home runs. He's 2 behind him.
Yeah, that could change overnight.
Yeah, he's got 21. Cal has 23. So, I mean, he's almost, 140 points higher in average. He's on base. It's hard to argue against what he's doing right now.
And like I said, I have seen Judge. I'm not sure where he's ranked as far as a outfielder goes. I mean,
he's a good defensive player. Yeah.
I mean, is he up there with Julio, would you say?
He's good. He's very. I don't know what the defensive metrics say about him. What those people.
You just know what your eyes tell you.
Yeah, he's very good. Judge is a very good outfielder. I think most people, you look at him, you would expect him to be big and clunky. Mm-hmm. He's such a huge dude. He's 6'7".
Yeah.
He's a large human out there, but what he's doing is just off the charts. I mean, he's almost 140 points higher in average. He's
couldn't he have just
almost
had this
200 higher in on base? Almost. I mean, he's
have this year next year.
Yeah, yeah. That's the unfortunate part. It's just the timing of this season for Cal. It's awesome to watch him do this, but it's happening when you've got Judge just going crazy. And then Lefko attached this article from MLB.com. Newest MVP poll shows runaway in both leagues, and the guy running away with it in the American League is Aaron Judge with 40 first place votes. Cal has 1. 40-1, and then the other runaway, obviously, is Shohei Ohtani in the National League. So
it's 2 ridiculously iconic players that are on, opposite sides of the country in big baseball towns.
The 2 biggest media markets in the country.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I get it. I get it. But I do think, it might even bring more attention to Cal just because of once you talk about those guys and all the superlatives and everything, it's like, okay, what about this guy? And he's a catcher.
Mm-hmm.
And he's putting on the gear every day. I mean, maybe it'll just bring a little bit more positive attention to Cal.
Yeah, we'll see what happens as the season rolls on. Meanwhile, he is officially one of the top 50 Seahawks of all time. He's going to join us next. We're talking about Mack Strong coming up with Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
Brock and Salk.
Coach Macdonald, is there anything that could happen other than an injury between now and the beginning of the season that would lead to a different quarterback?
This is a crazy question. It's just not going to happen. Like, Sam's our starting quarterback. I think it's funny that the media is out there for like the first day and all of a sudden they know exactly how good we're going to be and how good all the players are. And it's like, we don't even put on pads yet. Yeah, that was kind of a crazy question.
Brock and Salk, morning 6 to 10 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Got neighbors? Big Trees can help. This is Nancy Penrose, owner of Big Trees in Snohomish. If you've been considering planting trees to add privacy, look no further than Big Trees. Privacy trees fill in empty spaces, help to define property lines, and add curb appeal. Learn more about Big Trees' big supply of privacy trees at bigtreesupply.com.
Need a new roof, a deck, siding, windows? Get up to $3,000 off any new installation. Hi, it's Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Home projects can add up fast, but we're here to help you save big. Book now and lock in up to $3,000 off in savings. That's $3,000 off any new installation. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com to schedule your free estimate today. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Dave Wyman here for Harley Exteriors, a local company serving all of Western Washington for 23 years. Olympic Series windows are offered exclusively by Harley Exteriors, manufactured right here in Washington, specifically designed for our Pacific Northwest homes and climate. This is the window you want. It looks absolutely stunning, much better than a traditional vinyl window, and these windows last up to 60 years. They're going to lower your energy bills and provide year-round comfort. They come with a double lifetime, fully transferable warranty, meaning not only are you covered for glass breaking or damaged seals, it's going to help your resale and home value. Very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest up to 12 months for qualified buyers. And this June, buy 3 windows and get 1 free, plus an additional $200 off your entire project. Think Harley Exteriors for windows, doors, and more in the Puget Sound. Call 8-333-HARLEY or go to harleyexteriors.com.
I'm Chris Davis, former King County prosecutor and founder of the Davis Law Group in Seattle. If you've been injured in a crash caused by impaired or drunk drivers, there are special considerations that need to be taken to protect your legal rights. Davis Law Group's team of investigators and lawyers know how to properly investigate DUI crashes and identify all parties who might be legally responsible for your injuries and damages. Call Davis Law Group at 206-888-8888 or get my free book at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. Classes start June 11th. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Right now, get a $15 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select AC Pro refrigerant products at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Go from daydreamer to industry leader with Amazon Business. From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Mariners welcome the Baltimore Orioles to town starting tonight. Game 1 of a 3-game series here at T-Mobile Park to wrap up the 9-game homestand. Mariners are 3-3 so far through those first 6 games. They'll send George Kirby to the hill in his 3rd start since coming off the IL. You can catch all of the action beginning at 5:30 with the pregame show. 6:40 first pitch right here, Seattle Sports on 710. Games going on right now. Bottom of the 2nd, no score between the Marlins and the Rockies. Rockies picked up their 10th win of the season last night, looking to make it 11. They are 10-50 on the year currently. The Astros and Pirates are scoreless. That one headed to the bottom of the 2nd in Pittsburgh. And the Nationals out to a 1-0 lead over the Cubs in Washington, headed to the top of the 2nd there.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is serviced by the Lee Johnson Auto family.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Wyman and Bob.
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton.
Well, we were talking a lot about this as it was unveiled earlier this year, the voting on the all-time 50, the top 50 Seahawks players, regardless of position, just the 50 greatest to ever wear the uniform. And they broke it down by positions. We voted online. We voted, you and I cast our own votes on this show, Dave, and I think we both voted for this guy, and it sounds like, well, it doesn't sound like it is. The fans voted for him as well because he has been nominated and he is one of the top 50 Seahawks of all time. Joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline, he is Mack Strong. How are you, man?
Man, I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. What does that? How does that feel to hear one of the 50 greatest in the history of this organization to ever play? How about that?
You know, it's humbling. I guess I got a lot of family members out there that just spend a lot of time on the phone. Or on the internet voting over and over again. But no, it really is humbling. You know, I know there's been a lot of great players that's come through this organization in the last 50 years. And, you know, just to be considered, just to be in the running and to even be considered, be a nomination, it's just something I never thought, you know, I would ever get to see at any point, you know, especially at the end of my career. So just very honored by that, humbled by, you know, just that the fans haven't forgotten, you know, that, you know, all of us older guys that were on this list that ended up being a part of this. You know, just as we're part of something that's very unique here in Seattle. I think people love the Seahawks and the impact that they've had on this community. I think it's just something very special, and I'm grateful to be a part of it.
Well, and Mac, you've got like a storybook story, basically. And I when you came in to the league, I was leaving to go to Denver, and I won't tell you about all the times that I whooped Mac's ass on the field because, you know, we don't want to go there.
It'd be a short story.
I can't even say it with a straight face. No, but when you showed, you're a free agent out of Georgia, right? And yep. I know that you've come a long ways, but everybody told me that you had like a black garbage sack for a suitcase that you brought in. I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, you start off as a free agent, work your way up, and then, you know, just the way that you endeared yourself with the fans here in Seattle. Everybody loved Mack Strong, and you're just such a great leader. I remember when I had to do media, you were always one of the go-to guys that I could go to talk to after a game. But, yeah, I mean, it's been an amazing ride for you with the Seahawks.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today. I found out yesterday that I made the team. So, I thought about the beginning, right? Humble beginnings.
Yeah.
And I thought about not being drafted. And at the time, not getting drafted, I thought, okay, that's it. My career is over. It was over before it even got started. But, praying on the practice squad the entire first year, 1993, and then coming back, making the team the next year, but being inactive the first 8 games. So the first 24 games of, my existence here in Seattle, I'm on the sideline twiddling my thumbs, just itching for the opportunity to get in. And then I was finally able to get in, and then at that point I was like, I'm not letting go of this. And so, I think my story is just a story of just, what could happen. It's not about the beginning of something, but it's how you finish. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just grateful that I was able to stay on to this, organization, especially, as things started heated up in free agency, right? Guys been able to go to other teams and make more money and all that kind of stuff. And for whatever reason, it just felt right for me to be here, raise my family here, be a part of this organization. And I'm grateful I did because, I was able to go to a Super Bowl and all of those things. And so I'm grateful for all of that. I mean, all of that comes to mind as I think about my time, there in Seattle.
What were you being told before the draft when you came out? I mean, today the media is so prominent. Everything's on social media. I mean, you're hearing from every voice there is. Back when you were coming out, were you being told by, I don't know, your agent? Were you talking to people that say, hey, we think you're going to be picked late in the draft, or did you know you'd be a free agent? What was that process like for you back then?
Yeah, well, being a fullback, first of all, nobody was really drafted fullbacks a lot.
Right.
And the year I came out in '93, that was the first year they went from having 12 rounds to 7 rounds. So, a lot of teams, the Detroit Lions were it was laughable. They were like, oh, yeah, we may take you in the 2nd round. I'm like, no, there's nobody taking any. You're not taking any fullbacks in the 2nd round, so you're not fooling anybody with that one. But I would say I grew up in Georgia. I went to the University of Georgia. The running back coach from Georgia, Ollie North, worked me out for an hour. I did a personal workout for him. And I always thought I was going to Atlanta, and they stayed in touch with me throughout the whole process. And then, right at the end, then they wanted to sign me as a free agent. But I was ticked at that point, to be honest with you. I was like, they just kept dragging me along, and I felt like, I want a new start. I wanted a fresh start. I hadn't seen much of the country or anything, and there were a couple of other teams that, showed interest in me. And Seattle was one of them. And I'd never been to Seattle. I'd never been further west than Colorado. And so I was like, man, Pacific Northwest, Seattle, I think it rains a lot there. That's going to be, that'll be something to get used to. But, let's see what happens. The only person I'd ever heard of from here is 2 guys, Steve Largent, and I think the year before, Cortez Kennedy on the 2-14 team had won Defensive Player of the Year,
right?
Which I was like, that was phenomenal. But and then I made my way out here, and obviously the rest is history. So I'm just grateful. You just never know how things are going to turn out, and that's how it was for me.
Hey, Mac, one of my, I think it was my 2nd year, I think it was 2005, when you guys had just that awesome offensive line. And I told this story just the other day because, and this is a compliment, but because it's kind of like when Tyler Lockett drops a pass, we're like, you remember it, right? But you guys were playing the then Redskins, and it was like 3rd and 2, and you had that offensive line with Robbie Tobeck, Steve Hutchinson, Walter Jones, you at fullback, and then Sean Alexander at tailback, and it was a 3rd and 2, and you guys didn't pick it up. And I was shocked because that was an automatic thing for you guys. Tell us about that year. And I think Sean, that was the year he went for 2,000.
Well, he had 1,800 yards. He was the league MVP that year.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But
he was the league MVP.
Did you guys kind of feel like that? This is almost automatic?
Yeah, well, I think a little bit. I mean, you got to remember, to start off the season, we were 2-2, right? And we had a bunch of injuries. I mean, Tula Mealy went down. I mean, some of our best players went down, right? I think Kenny Hamlin got hurt. kind of some bar fight, late night bar fight or something like. He almost died. So he was on IR. I mean, so we had a lot of guys like, that were playing that we weren't projected to necessarily be playing, at the beginning of the season. And so we started off 2-2. It was like, and I remember everybody was like, oh, same old Seahawks, high expectations, and they're under delivering. And then for some reason we came together. We just really did. I think we knew that we had a good team, and that we were all gonna have to play, our best football. And then I think we rattled off like 11 wins in a row. Yeah. And during that time, I think that's when we, especially the offensive unit, that offensive line really started flexing their muscles. And, really everybody. Sean was running like crazy. I mean, I think he ended up with 1,880 yards and ended up being the team's only league MVP in the 50-year history. So that was a very special year. That's what I always remember about that. Obviously, get to the Super Bowl and falling short of that's forgettable. But everything else, up until that point, I'll cherish for the rest of my life.
Is there an individual highlight for you, maybe a specific play in a random game that always stands out to you as, man, what a moment, or anything like that from your career that when you reflect back, like, yeah, that I'm always going to remember this moment or that play or this success?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because that year, I don't know if you guys remember, but right after Sean won the MVP, I think we played the Redskins again at home. And, we had a home, I think it was the second round game or whatever, and he got knocked out. He got knocked out of the game. And so, the rest of us had to pick up the slack, right? The league MVP goes down, and anyway, they ended up calling, I was doing a lot of the third down work, because they would typically on third down would do a lot of pass protection. And so, but they ended up calling my number to run the ball. And I ended up having like a 32-yard run in the playoffs. And at the time, it was the longest run in playoff history for the Seahawks, 32 yards.
Wow.
And then obviously there's another young man that came along in 2010 that made an earthquake. They created an earthquake.
Yeah.
I think that's a moment that I remember. I got a picture of that run, kind of sitting up in my room that I have all my pictures in. So I always remember that one.
That's funny, Mac. I thought you were gonna tell this one, and I don't know if you know when this happened, but it was 3rd and 15, and Holmgren ran a draw to Mack Strong, and you picked up 16 yards. And I remember everybody in the stadium's going, "What the hell are you doing?" And you somehow scratched it out, man. But how much do you keep in touch with that Super Bowl team? You guys go to Super Bowl 40, and who are the guys that you connect with still?
It's really challenging to stay in touch. Probably say Sean is probably the guy I stay in touch with the most.
Yeah.
Sean, I saw Hasselback, a couple of months ago, because I don't live in Seattle anymore. I live in Pullman, Washington, which is, my wife is a professor at Washington State University. So I used to see a lot more guys. I talk to True Fawn every now and then. I'm a consultant with the NFL now. I reach out to former players to make sure that they get resources and benefits that they've earned. So I come over to Seattle like at least once a year, typically during their Legends Weekend, and I always do a presentation for all the guys that come in from around the country for that event.
Yeah.
But other than that, it really is hard to kind of stay in touch with guys. Everybody's doing their own thing. We're not getting any younger. At least I'm not. Maybe you are, Dave. But
a little bit.
I'm an empty nester. My kids and I, so my wife and I just kind of enjoying our time out here in Pullman.
Cool. So do you? How much do you keep in touch with just how things are going with the league? Something Dave and I always talk about is some of the positions that seem like they kind of get phased out and then they come back into fashion. Whether it was a tight end and now fullback seems like was almost extinct, and now Seahawks made it a point to draft fullbacks. You know, they've made a tight end from last year into fullback. They draft players this year. They plan to go with a fullback. So I don't know if it'll be a league-wide thing, but it feels like there might be some resurgence for your old position.
I hope so. I really do. You know, it's more of a passing league. It has been for like the past 10 years now. You know, I think you know, there's such an affinity with stretching the field and big play, explosive plays and things like that. You don't necessarily think about that when you think about the fullback. The fullback is more blowing up guys, you know, at the line of scrimmage and you know, 2 or 3 yards in a cloud of dust. But I will say this: it seems like the teams that are more successful, that get to the playoffs and even get to, you know, the top game into the Super Bowl, or team. I think about the San Francisco 49ers come to mind. I mean, they have a phenomenal fullback, you know, Juszczyk, who's I think just you know, every year just goes to the pro. He does a great job of just doing a little bit of everything for them, and that's what when I think about good fullbacks in this league, especially when I was playing. That's what we added to the team. We did a little bit of everything. We probably weren't good at any one thing, but we just did a lot of different things that probably helped teams to be successful.
Now, you mentioned you're working for the NFL, Mac, and, you know, they do a really good job, but I do think, and it's great that you're kind of putting the word out. Like, I think there's a lot of guys like me that I'm not taking advantage of all the, you know, different things the NFL has to offer. One of which, by the way, I heard that they can make a highlight film of you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. Absolutely.
I want a low light film. I like the opposite of that. But no, I mean, yeah, there's lots of things, and that's what you're working with right now, like kind of putting the word out, right? To, you know, mostly to just former players is who you're working with, correct?
Yeah, exactly. It's former players, and you know, and my job is to let guys know what different resources and benefits are available to them. Yeah. There are a lot of guys. I mean, depending on how long you played, what CBA you played under, all those things, that's a factor. There are resources and benefits that are available to you, and the sad part about sometimes this stuff is that guys not only do they not know what their benefits are, but they don't take advantage of it. Yeah. So that's really hard, you know. So that's the reason why I got in it, is to make sure that guys just were knowledgeable about that stuff and help them to know how to access that stuff.
Yeah, good work, man.
Hey, Mac, congratulations on being named one of the 50 greatest to ever put on a Seahawks uniform, man. That's quite an honor. You deserve it. We're getting a ton of texts in here. Tell Mac I love him. I'm always going to remember this play. I'm going to remember that play. And he was great. He's the best. So you got a lot of love coming from our listeners here, and you deserve it, man. It's great to see you. Great to talk to you about it, and congrats on that.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks, Mac.
There you go. Mack Strong, one of the 50 greatest to ever put on a Seahawks uniform. How about that?
Yeah. Just off the field, I think everybody loved Mac. Everybody.
Is he a nice guy?
He's a very nice guy. But, you know, he can be really nasty on the field. But, no, when we would go out and do remotes and everything, I mean, there was always a Mack Strong fan club following us around.
Did he have the neck injury?
He did.
As well as that would ended his career?
Yeah.
Because he played 14 years or something.
Yeah, I think I just had his numbers up. But, yeah, he played for a long time. And I love that story. And I remember he was kind of embarrassed. He played 14 years but I think it was a real deal. He showed up with a black garbage sack that was the suitcase. He didn't have luggage, or something. But I mean, just a great underdog story, and just one of the nicest dudes. And like I said, when he's one of those guys that you knew after a game, even if they lost, that he's just going to be steady as can be. And yeah, he's married to a professor out there and
doing well. Good for him, man. Yeah, congrats to Mack Strong. Good stuff. So if you guys didn't catch all of that conversation, you'll be able to find it on the podcast page after the show at seattlesports.com. Meanwhile, we'll be back at OTAs tomorrow, broadcasting live from the Virginia Mason Athletic Center and taking a look at this team. And we just talked to Brady Henderson, Seahawks reporter for ESPN.com. And we were talking about some of the guys that are in contract years, Boye Mafe and Ken Walker. And, and he talked about Abe Lucas, and he expects Charles Cross to get that extension. But he talked about them being sort of the group that he expects to be extended. The one guy he left out of that group was Riq Woolen, and I said, "Oh, so you've got Riq on the outside of that group?" And he said, "Yeah, he got the sense that the Seahawks are not that excited about extending him, at least going into the season. Now he could have just a crazy good season, and that'll certainly change. But what'd you make of that?"
I thought there was a problem with Riq Woolen, not as far as like his coverage and his ability to play corner, but just like his focus. And so I would say this, and I think Mike Macdonald is a little bit different in this regard, that the field is like a classroom for him out there when they're practicing, and the guys that aren't able to stay focused for the entire time, much and especially in a game, I don't think he's very tolerant. So, yeah, I mean, I think Riq is one of the, and I would say rightfully so, that he shouldn't be tolerant. But I think it's a premium for him to have guys that are constantly in the game, in practice, everything. And I think Riq maybe goes in and out. So, yeah, I mean, I would say that doesn't totally surprise me, but also I just think it makes this season coming up really interesting.
It's huge for him,
for Riq Woolen.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge for all those guys, right? Any of them have a bad year, down year. How eager are the Seahawks going to be to hand them an extension? Going, all right, it's a 1-year aberration. They'll be fine. I don't know if that's...
to your point, I mean, if he gets double-digit picks and play, I mean, look, he made plays last year where I remember Mike Macdonald specifically praising, like in the group, media scrum. So. Yeah, I mean, I think he's got all the talent in the world, but I just wonder if the mental part of it, maybe he checks out every once in a while. I think Anthony Bradford kind of falls into that same category. So, yeah, I mean, that's an interesting one, and I'm rooting for Riq. I mean, he's a great kid, and I think he plays hard, and it's not like it's anything, conscientious. I don't think he even understands that it's happening, but I do think it needs to get fixed.
Seems like it'd be hard to check out at that level.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That you just I don't know what that means. That they just lose focus. Like, oh, what down is it? What when you say they're checked out, that's what I'm envisioning. Like, oh wait, what was the play call?
What other thoughts are in your head?
Yeah, it just seems like you're playing at the highest level,
right?
And one wrong step, one false move, if you will,
especially at corner,
you're going to get embarrassed.
Yeah. You're on blast at corner, right?
Yeah, you're on that proverbial island, and the spotlight is right there. And when you get beat, everybody sees it. So it's just weird to think that at some moment his mind would be elsewhere, or he would lose a level of focus that would cost him on a play.
Well, and real quick before we go to break, what was that last year? Do you remember the game? Was it Arizona where they benched him for the first part of it?
Yeah, I don't remember which game that was, but yeah.
But yeah, and then they put Trey Brown out there, and I think he lined up off sides, and he gave up a touchdown, and long story short, Trey Brown's not here anymore.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I thought that was part of it. So, yeah, those are the kinds of things that Mike Macdonald's not going to tolerate. So I just hope that that Riq gets that fixed, and if he can just stay into the game, his athletic ability, his build, everything is just perfect for corner.
All right. Hey, make sure to catch all of the excitement at T-Mobile Park when the Mariners begin a 3-game series against the Orioles tonight, which is Bark in the Park night. Tomorrow is Pride Month ticket special, and all 3 days are value games. So the information you need is at mariners.com/tickets. Meanwhile, we just talked to one of the top 50 Seahawks of all time. Up next, we'll dive into the latest players who have been revealed. That's coming your way next with Wyman and Bob at Seattle Sports on 710.
What a weekend.
Swinging a ground ball up the middle, base hit.
The Mariners' resilient shines.
A walk-off single. Julio scores.
The big dumper unloads.
Cal Raleigh does it again.
Tonight, the homestand continues with a first of 3 against the Orioles at T-Mobile Park. First pitch at 6:40 on the home of the Mariners and the AL West race. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman here for my friends at Harley Exteriors. They're a local company serving all of Western Washington for the past 23 years, and I'm really excited to be working with Harley Exteriors because they're my kind of people. I had Ray, Chris, and Nick out to my house just to see what they could do for us because, you see, we've been in the same house for 24 years, so almost all of the windows in our home have a broken seal. And Harley Exteriors, they have an exclusive high-quality Eurovinyl Olympic Series window, and it's manufactured right here in Washington. And these windows are designed specifically for homes in the Pacific Northwest, helping to maximize energy, efficiency, and beauty. And it's a window you can trust to last the life of your home. Very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest, up to 12 months for qualified buyers. And right now, through the month of June, buy 3 windows, get 1 free. So Harley Exteriors, they're big fans of the show, and they're excited to work with our listeners. And I'm proud to be working with Ray, Chris, and Nick at Harley Exteriors. It's a team you can get behind. So get in touch with Harley Exteriors for windows, doors, and more. They're right here in the Puget Sound. Give them a call at 833-HARLEY. That's 833-HARLEY. Or you can go to harleyexteriors.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This Father's Day, help Dad be all he can be with a gift from the Home Depot, because he's not just Dad, he's the handyman of the house, the plumber in a pinch, and the emergency mechanic. Upgrade his gear this Father's Day with the Husky Mechanics 270-piece tool set from the Home Depot. Now on special buy for $119, a $695 value. For every kind of dad, find the perfect gift this Father's Day at the Home Depot.
Get 0% financing for 72 months on Cat compact construction equipment at NC Machinery. Built for performance, durability, and comfort. Buy now and take advantage of 0% financing for 72 months at NC Machinery.
What is that sound? Ugh, that sounds like a plumbing sound. Luckily, there's a company that fixes all the plumbing sounds across Puget Sound. That's All Sound Plumbing. Puget Sound's plumbing experts. Have a sound? Visit allsoundplumbing.com.
The home of the Mariners.
Left off to center. It is on its way. Julio, 2-run home run.
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, Riverside Roofing is offering $1,000 off a new replacement right now. That's huge. $1,000 off. Quite the incentive for homeowners to book their roof replacement right now. It's Mike Salk here, and it really is a great time to do it. These days are getting long, right? Sunsets after 8 o'clock. Crews can get your roof done quick. So take advantage now before demand spikes this summer, making those repairs costly and time-consuming as well. Here's what you got to do to claim your $1,000 off from Riverside Roofing. Book a free estimate from the website, riversideroofingllc.com. And then you'll meet with Brandon, that's Don's son. Just tell him you heard the message here on the radio station. $1,000 back in your pocket, and yes, a brand new roof over your head. And while you're there, ask Brandon about their 35 years of local experience, GAF Master Elite certification, which puts them in the top 3% of roofers in the nation, and of course the catch-all system, which they use to keep your yard and driveway totally free of debris like nails or shingles. Go to riversideroofingllc.com. Remember, Riverside Roofing is the roofing company you can trust.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
This hour is serviced by the Lee Johnson Auto family.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Wyman and Bob.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Our thanks to Mack Strong, who joined us in the previous segment, in case you guys are just tuning in and missed that conversation. Great stuff from Mack Strong, one of the 50 greatest Seahawks of all time, as voted upon by fans. The Seahawks are going through an unveiling by position group, all 50 of the greatest to ever do it. And today they did running backs, which included fullbacks,
right,
and they did defensive backs, which were corners and safeties. And today they did O-line and D-line.
Yeah.
So the latest looks like this: O-lineman Edwin Bailey, Chris Gray, Steve Hutchinson, Walter Jones, Brian Millard, Robbie Tobeck, and Max Unger. Any omissions there? The one that popped to mind immediately, or I don't know, Russell Okung. Russell Okung was a good player. And didn't he make a Pro Bowl with the team?
I believe he did.
Yeah. He was the one I looked at. There's, all right, if I'm looking for an omission that, first blush that popped in my head was Russell Okung. What about you?
Yeah, I guess I didn't. I was so thrilled to see Brian Millard and Edwin Bailey. Pearl Bailey, and Bevo. That was his nickname because that's what they named that big steer down in Texas because he went to Texas. So Bevo.
Bailey was Bevo?
No, that was Brian Millard.
Oh, Millard was Bevo.
Bailey was Pearl, of course. But those two guys were such good guards. I just remember going against them in practice, and Edwin Bailey had the hardest head in the NFL. I mean, you'd hit him as hard as you possibly can, and he wouldn't even budge. And
we saw him out there at training camp, right?
Yeah, he comes out all the time.
They had a parking spot with his name on it and everything.
Remember he was complaining about, these guys are not even practicing in pads here.
Yeah,
what are they doing? This isn't double days.
Old school.
Yeah, and then Brian Millard really, I mean, he was a guy who should have been a Pro Bowler a couple of different years, and he was really like a technician, and he taught me so much in practice. So I loved seeing those two guys. I thought, maybe those guys, I don't know, I'll put it bluntly, I think a lot of old people voted. A lot of old people voted and remembered that. Old people like me. So, yeah, I loved those two guys. But, yeah, I think Russell Okung is pretty good. I like that Max Unger was in there. Of course, Robbie Tobeck. Of course, Hutch. Of course, Walt.
Anybody else that would be an omission?
What about Sean on the other side? I forget his name all the time. Locklear. Chris Gray and Locklear were on the right side. And then Hutch and Walt were on the other side. And it's pretty amazing that you have two Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Right there. So, but yeah, I mean, that offensive line, I mean, it's always tough. You got to have a guy that's really good and that's like a Pro Bowler that sticks around on the team for a really long time. And I didn't think there was too many stubs.
Okay.
How about you?
That Okung was the first one.
Okung was the only one. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, okay, so there's your O lineman. And then the D lineman, Cliff Averill, Michael Bennett, Jeff Bryant, Jacob Green, Cortez Kennedy, Brandon Mebane, Joe Nash, Michael Sinclair.
Yeah, I love that Joe, Jake, and Jeff made it. Joe Nash.
You knew Jacob would make it.
Jacob Green, definitely.
Tez and Jacob Green, to me, were the just
lock.
Ride them in. You're voting on everybody else.
But both Joe Nash and Jeff Bryant, again, talking about the older guys, but Jeff Bryant was one of those just solid guys that had like 7 or 8 sacks a year, and he was always going to do the right thing. Like playing behind him, I knew he was always going to do his job. And so I knew exactly how to play behind him. Joe Nash blocked something like 10 or 11 kicks, like field goals, and some extra points. But mostly I remember him blocking field goals, lower trajectory. But he had just an unbelievable knack of getting skinny in like the A gap in between the center and the guard and just getting his hands up. And he was like 6'1". And he looked like just a regular guy off the street, Joe did. And, yeah, he just so I loved seeing those 3 guys. But, yeah, I didn't see anybody that I thought was an omission.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm glad, obviously, Cliff made it because I think he was tremendous while he was there. I was glad to see Mebane because he was a guy that didn't pile up stats. But I remember speaking with DeMarco Farr sitting in the press box. They were about to play the Rams, and he was talking about Mebane. And just going, this guy, how do you guys talk about him a lot? I'm like, well, we talk about everybody, but he's not the superstar by any stretch. He's like, this guy is the biggest problem on that. And he just went into this big descriptive story about what he does, and you got to pay attention to this, that, and just what a problem he is.
Yeah.
And he was a tremendous player during obviously a very golden era for this team, but not an edge guy, not a guy who's piling up sacks like a defensive end or an outside linebacker. But yeah, I was glad to see him, and certainly Cliff Averill and Mike Bennett, because those guys were a huge part of a golden era of this team.
Yeah. You asked about the offensive line. Also, Chris Gray made it as well.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I was really happy to see the guys that they did put in. I thought that was what really stood out. But yeah, like I said, I think there's a lot of people from my era that around my age that voted because, yeah, there's some old school guys I didn't think were going to get much respect, especially, the running backs with having Marshawn Lynch, at this point. I mean, a lot of people remembered Chris Warren, so I thought that was really cool. And
somebody brought up Dwayne Brown as an omission.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, he was traded here and then really good. Really good. I mean, how many years did Dwayne play here?
Maybe that was it. Did he
3 or 4?
Was he on the list to be voted on? I can't even remember. Do you remember Lefko? Was Dwayne Brown on?
No, and this is the issue. Dave and I were talking about this. I said, I wish we had the originals still somewhere and we could compare. So I don't remember. I feel like he was.
Yeah.
He made a Pro Bowl, right? With the Seahawks?
Yeah, he made a Pro Bowl, and I think he had the right, what
was it, 45 starts?
Yeah, he had... Well, there's 42. Yeah, over 60 with the Seahawks.
Yeah, he was a hell of a player for this team, man. Dwayne Brown was very good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good call by the 206.
I miss having that guy around too. Also, he was a really good dude. But I remember you and him talking about boxing.
Yeah,
because he was a big boxing fan. But yeah, I mean, he just was. What a great acquisition. That's one of the trades that Schneider made that a lot of people don't remember, but that was a good transaction right there.
How about this one? Somebody said defensive line omission, Manu Tuiasosopo.
Yeah.
Was he?
And Manu, I think, came from San Francisco. And I wonder if maybe he didn't have the right number of starts, but yeah, he was a good Seahawk guy out of UCLA. No, it's the other way around. He was here in Seattle, and then he went down there. So he had enough starts. So I would say, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Somebody said Joe Nash had that trick knee, great for a fake injury when you don't have a timeout. That was against the Bengals, right?
Poor Joe.
Yeah.
Poor Joe. And then, I guess it was right hand was going to be Jeff Bryant or Boogie, and left hand was going to be Joe Nash if, which one goes down.
Yeah.
Chuck would hold up the arm. because everybody always said it's because Jeff was the first-round draft choice that Chuck wouldn't humiliate him like that.
So, Joe,
Joe
down.
went down every single time, and then everybody gave him crap. And one time, there was one play where I got hit in the stones really hard. It was probably the hardest ever in my career. And I was laying on the ground, and then Joe was laying on the ground.
Next to you.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, look, now there's two of them doing it. And I'm like, no, I'm really hurt.
I'm legit hurt. He's faking it. Hey, a reminder, if you missed any part of the show, you just want to go check things out again, you can check out our Wyman and Bob channel on the Seattle Sports YouTube page and search for Seattle Sports on all social media platforms. You can find our segments, our interviews, our conversations. It's all there for you, regardless of which social media platform you're on. We're on all of them. Meanwhile, one Mariners legend wants to set the record straight on his departure. We're going to hear about that when we sweep the dial. Coming up with Wyman and Bob at Seattle Sports on 710.
Brock and Salk.
Coach Macdonald, is there anything that could happen other than an injury between now and the beginning of the season that would lead to a different quarterback?
No, this is a crazy question. This is not going to happen. Like, Sam's our starting quarterback. I think it's funny that the media is out there for like the first day, and all of a sudden they know exactly how good we're going to be and how good all the players are. And it's like, we don't even put on pads yet. Yeah, that was kind of a crazy question.
Brock and Salk, morning 6 to 10 on Seattle Sports.
Hey, have you been considering surgery or even joint replacement? Hey, it's Dave Wyman here. After years of football, I know all about bad knees. So I recently had a consultation with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. And I've heard so many patients rave about stem cell therapy with Dr. Wagner. And we're talking about people with severe osteoarthritis, bone on bone. They're back hiking, jogging, playing tennis, skiing, golfing, even just going up and down the stairs with the kids and the grandkids, and doing it without pain and without surgery. Dr. Wagner's 60-minute outpatient procedure uses your own stem cells, which can regenerate your own cartilage in your own joints. And Dr. Mark Wagner is a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience. And get this, he has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. And he's one of the few doing it the right way. So whether it's a shoulder, hip, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Get the facts, then get back in the game at drmarkwagnermd.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Guys, tired all the time? Gaining weight? Low drive? These aren't just signs of aging. They could be low testosterone or other underlying issues. This June, for Men's Health Month, Revive Men's Health in Seattle is offering a free comprehensive wellness panel, a $400 value. It checks your testosterone, blood sugar, cholesterol, kidney, liver, thyroid, and heart health. No guessing, just answers. Over 100,000 men have trusted Revive to get real results. More energy, better sleep, improved mood, and confidence that shows. If something feels off, don't wait. Take control and protect your long-term health by knowing your numbers. This offer ends June 30th. Schedule your free comprehensive wellness panel today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Feel better. Live stronger. Start now.
Immaculate greens, unrivaled natural beauty, championship caliber conditions. Loomis Trail is the epitome of Northwest golf. With water in play on nearly every hole and tree-lined fairways, Loomis Trail provides a fantastic golf experience for those that want a challenge and those looking for a fun getaway. What round are you up for? Tee times available online at golfloomis.com. Start planning your perfect golf getaway today.
The home of the Mariners.
One hopper snared at short. On a quick hop by J.P. Crawford. That guy's a magician over there at shortstop.
Seattle sports.
Download the Seattle Sports app.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, Accurate Auto Body.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, Accurate Auto Body.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
Ladies, and you guys too, have you noticed visible signs of aging, those deep wrinkles, fine lines, and facial creases stealing your youthful glow? Sagging skin, crow's feet, and loss of facial contour are all natural effects of aging, but you no longer have to let them define your appearance. Introducing the New Skin Lift, the groundbreaking facelift led by Dr. Brian Scott. The advanced New Skin Lift addresses key signs of facial aging for women and men, restoring natural youthful contours. Whether it's replenishing volume lost over time or lifting the skin to smooth out those creases, the New Skin Lift can help you look 10 to 20 years younger with both surgical and non-surgical options. It's Hollywood's best kept secret and now available to you. Get a free consultation and save $250 off your New Skin facelift. Schedule at newskinlift.com or 206-222-1225. Look 10 to 20 years younger and restore your youthful appearance with the New Skin facelift. newskinlift.com.
Scanning the airwaves for the most interesting and entertaining stories of the day. Sweeping the dial. Every afternoon at 4:45 with Wyman and Bob.
Presented by Silver Reef Casino Resort.
We've heard a couple of things from Seahawks defensive coordinator Aden Durde today about the linebackers. He was also asked about Devin Witherspoon and how they want to utilize him better as a blitzer this season.
I think at times we got to bring him more though. Like I think that's on me, you know, like and putting him in better situations to kind of give him opportunities to blitz because he is a good blitzer. Like the ones a couple of times he blitzed, he did win, you know. And then going through it, I think just that more opportunities for him to blitz. Really, I think that will bring him to life more.
I look forward to that.
Coach talks weird.
I love seeing Witherspoon in the backfield.
He really has a great sense of timing. I watched one of the sacks that he got where the quarterback checked backside, and then as soon as he turned away, then Spoon started coming, timed up the snap, and it's just kind of a sense. Some guys have a sense for it, and they just are able to get off on the ball, just a quickness. And so I'd love to see that. He can make any kind of play you want to make, but yeah, especially coming off the edge. But if you brought him up and kind of put him in that game of some of the middle blitzes where he's in the box playing nickel, I don't think there's anybody that takes a better route. And then as far as his target when he makes tackles is really good. So
biggest disappointment yesterday was he was quiet.
Oh, yeah.
Remember we were standing there? I'm like, have you heard him chirping at all? I haven't heard him yet.
I hadn't really watched him, but I'm sure he was all juiced up. But, yeah, I mean, that he is one of those guys I think that there's a lot of coaches that are sitting around going, what can we do with this guy?
Yeah.
Sweeping the dial.
So after the Randy Johnson news about the Mariners retiring his jersey next season, Randy hopped on a conference call, and he talked about the honor, but then he also mentioned that he kind of wanted to clear the air about his departure from Seattle.
For whatever reason, after I left Seattle I was traded. I didn't walk away. I think that is something that I hear from fans still occasionally. For whatever reason, the ownership then didn't make this happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to remember what the story was back then. It was so long ago, but something about him being mad. I think maybe his did his dad pass away and the ownership didn't say anything to him? Something happened in his family. I can't remember. There's something where he felt slighted by ownership at a time he felt like they should have approached him or something, and that led to the bad feelings that led to the trade. That there's somebody might have a clearer picture of it that can text it in, but that was the overwhelming story, was that there was some level of dissatisfaction on his part with ownership.
Yeah.
And ultimately led to his trade to the Houston Astros. And that's when the Mariners got Freddie Garcia from the Houston Astros, and who else? Carlos Kia and John Halama.
Yeah.
How about that?
That's pretty good haul.
Yeah.
Yeah, Randy, he sounded kind of pissed off there.
He kind of always tended to sound a little bit that way.
Sounds that way a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a different dude, man. He's just a different personality. He's not the most gregarious guy that you're going to run into, and you've seen instances of that when he first got to New York. Remember? I don't know if you ever saw that video. There was somebody like following him down the street, and he was like, give me that, or stop filming me or whatever. Put his hand like, don't you do what I tell you to do or something. Like he's yelling at somebody in New York. I'm like, yeah, that's probably not going to work very well in New York City, man.
It was funny. I met him on the golf course down in Arizona, and then I ran into him on the streets of New York.
Oh, really?
I was there for a wedding.
Were you filming him?
No, but I mean, he was just as nice as could possibly be. And then a few weeks later, we went golfing together, and he got pissed about something. I think it was something I did or said, but yeah, I mean, he was very kind of up and down.
Yeah,
as far as that goes. But man, that would be the one guy that I would not want to face. Like, who's the scariest pitcher of all time?
He was up there because he was so big, he threw so hard, and he was incredibly wild, especially early in his career. He was very wild. I mean, I think his no-hitter, I think he walked like 8 or something like that against the Tiger. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it was a no-hitter, but he threw a million pitches and walked a ton of guys. But
what was he, like 6'10"?
Yeah.
I mean, just the stretch down the mound, it's like he's halfway there.
And he looked angry most of the time.
Sweeping the dial.
So Raiders offensive coordinator Chip Kelly was talking at OTAs, and he really likes what he's seen from Geno Smith so far.
Geno can be a blessing to coaches, and I can attest to you to that. I think Geno's special. And so, yeah, I think you're spot on with that. I think he's got great leadership qualities. I think everybody is a byproduct of their environment, and I think how Geno came through his career, and you look at the arcs of his career, being a high draft pick and going to New York and then headed to San Diego and then kind of almost restarting his career when he got with Pete. But Pete brought him in as a backup. Russell was there, and then all of a sudden earning the starting job, Russell gets traded, and now Geno gets to show what he can do. There's not a lot of guys that would have shown that resiliency. There's not a lot of guys that would have been persevered through all of that. But I think you can look at him as a younger player, or you could look at him as an older coach and admire the journey that he's been on and just say, because it's hard to talk the talk if you have never walked the walk.
That there's a lot to like with Geno. If you look back, and if you're a coach like Chip Kelly, you can understand the admiration for him because of his career, and just the trajectory of it is very, unusual.
Yeah.
And, he's a pretty strong-minded guy. Again, I just feel like we never really got to know Geno. But, yeah, I mean, I think what you see is what you get as far as what we heard from, the press conferences. But, yeah, I think there's some kind of a special connection with Chip Kelly and Geno Smith. And, I wish Pete the best down there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm rooting for Pete. And Geno, again, never really, like we talked about, develop that attachment to him because there was never that personal interaction where we could then come on the air after the interview and go, what a great guy he is. Right? I never had that opportunity. So, by the way,
we love to say that.
I keep trying to get your attention to the screen when they show this replay of Paul. You know how every baseball team, when they're out there warming up, throwing, they have a football.
Oh, yeah.
Every team that comes through Seattle, we're out there at Edgar's, people are throwing footballs. And Paul Skeens, who's the starting pitcher for the Pirates today, was out there with a football, and he drops back like he's going to throw the football, and it comes out of his hand. Like, whiffs, balls behind him. And you see he's kind of looking around, he picks up the ball, he's kind of like sheepishly smiling, like, but yeah, arm comes forward, ball's not there.
No.
Yeah, it was very funny.
Well, I've seen a few guys, and like I was talking about, I don't know if I told you this, Mark DeRosa, who Mike
was a
interviewed
quarterback
yesterday. Yeah, I mean, he was a really good court. So you see those guys, they bring footballs out to get warmed up or whatever, and some guys throw it like a little kid.
Yeah.
Even though they're baseball players and throw baseballs. But then every once in a while you see a guy that like, oh, that dude must have been a quarterback.
Yeah, he looked like he knew how to throw it because he picked it up, started throwing it. But that first one, he whiffed.
When it went out of the back. Wow, I've never even done that, and I'm a panhandled linebacker.
Yeah, they keep replaying. Just keep your eye on it because they've replayed it like 4 times already. It's very funny. All right, coming up, he's got the answers to all of the questions we have about everything happening in the world of sports. El Hombre, Michael Bradley joins us next with Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
What a weekend.
Swinging a ground ball up the middle, base hit.
The Mariners' resilient shine.
A walk-off single. Julio scores.
The big dumper unloads.
Cal Raleigh does it again.
Tonight, the homestand continues with a first of 3 against the Orioles at T-Mobile Park. First pitch at 6:40 on the home of the Mariners and the AL West race. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's, and My Lowe's Pro Rewards members can save even more with limited time deals. Right now, buy one, get one half off select HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams primer and ceiling paint. Plus, get free same-day delivery to your job site when you order by 2 p.m. Offer valid through 6/13, delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Dave Wyman here for Harley Exteriors, a local company serving all of Western Washington for 23 years. Olympic Series windows are offered exclusively by Harley Exteriors, manufactured right here in Washington, specifically designed for our Pacific Northwest homes and climate. This is the window you want. It looks absolutely stunning, much better than a traditional vinyl window, and these windows last up to 60 years. They're going to lower your energy bills and provide year-round comfort. They come with a double lifetime, fully transferable warranty, meaning not only are you covered for glass breaking or damaged seals, it's going to help your resale and home value. Very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest up to 12 months for qualified buyers. And this June, buy 3 windows and get 1 free, plus an additional $200 off your entire project. Think Harley Exteriors for windows, doors, and more in the Puget Sound. Call 8-333-HARLEY or go to harleyexteriors.com.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Mariners getting back to it tonight. Game 1 of a 3-game series against the Baltimore Orioles, who are in town. The Mariners are going to send George Kirby out to the hill, looking for a big step forward since his arrival from the injured list. He's had 2 starts that have not been awesome, so we're looking for a little more in the direction of awesome. We'll see what he gives you tonight. You can catch it all starting at 5:30 with the pregame show. 6:40 first pitch right here, Seattle Sports on 710. Other games going on right now. The Rockies looking to make it 2 in a row. They are knotted up at 2 apiece in Miami. They're in the bottom of the 5th. Rockies won last night, their 10th game of the season. They're 10-50 coming into this one. Other games happening, bottom of the 5th in Pittsburgh. No score between the Pirates and the Astros. Cubs out to a 4-3 lead over the Nationals. That one in the top of the 5th. The Guardians and Yankees in New York headed to the bottom of the 4th. They are scoreless. Top of the 3rd, Phillies up 7-0 on the Blue Jays. Bryce Harper homering in his first game back. So they are out big. Meanwhile, the Angels up on the Red Sox 3-0 in the bottom of the 3rd. Bottom of the 4th in Cincinnati. Brewers up 2-0 on the Reds. Diamondbacks up 4-0 on the Braves in Atlanta. That one in the top of the 4th. And bottom of the 2nd in Tampa, the Rays are up 1-0 on the Rangers. Tigers and White Sox scoreless in the top of the 2nd.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
Yeah, you know what you can get me, Pee-wee?
What?
El Hombre.
That was a catastrophe.
I know.
That's a new low. Roz is better.
El Hombre.
The natural meets Rudy meets. I don't even know how to describe it.
El Hombre.
He's here, everybody, every Tuesday at 5 o'clock. You can find him right here on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook hotline. He is the one, the only, El Hombre, Michael Bradley with us. How are you, man?
What's happening, everybody?
I would imagine you be in a good mood seeing Bryce Harper make his return to the lineup and immediately takes an 0-2 pitch into the stands. How about that?
Yeah, that's very nice, but losing 4 in a row leading up to that against good teams doesn't make me too happy. So, go ahead and beat the Blue Jays and the Rays over the next couple of days, the rest of the week, and then let's see what happens when the Cubs come to town next week because they were awful against Milwaukee.
Is that what it is to be a Phillies fan? They're winning, your superstar comes back, hits a home run, and you're going, yeah, that's fine. But what about when we stunk against these other teams?
No, well, they played good teams and they stunk. So, yeah, I mean, look, this team, here's how it works. It's not about, oh, good, on June 1st, we're in first place. No, it's about this team has been built for the postseason. Last year, crapped out against the Mets in the first round. So what are you going to do? I'm not going to get too excited about beating the Blue Jays. I mean, pitchers throwing batting practice in the first inning. Now they're so deep into their bullpen that by the 9th inning, the mascot may be pitching. It's great. It's a nice win. Finish it off. Finish the series. Keep going.
The greatest nickname you've ever given out. He was a GM for the Phillies. Do you know where I'm going, Michael?
Ruin tomorrow.
Dave loves that.
I went to Stanford with him. He's about the same age. I think he was a year behind me, and it was the baseball players in the house that I lived in. They were kind of a little on the cocky side, lots of talking and everything. We were all buddies and everything, but he was one of them. And when I heard you say that or call him that, I spit water out of my nose because that's one of the better ones. What else you got?
He's a Philly guy. He went to one of my high school's rival schools, and he and his brother Dave were very good baseball players, high school baseball players. He played in the majors, but he was very cocky, and people did not like him.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought that was one of the better better nicknames I'd ever heard in my life. That was
Thank you.
Very well done.
I thought you were going to go with false face.
No, I like Ruin Tomorrow is fantastic. I mean, that just covers everything.
Hey, Michael, what do you make of? And I don't know how much you're watching the NBA or paying attention to it, but the Knicks go as deep into the playoffs as they have in 25 years, a quarter of a century since they had gone this far into the playoffs, and then they fire their head coach, Tom Thibodeau. What do you think of that?
Well, I mean, look, we in Philadelphia are just as happy that James Dolan is the owner of the Knicks as that we are that Falseface is the owner of the Cowboys, and that little Danny was the owner of the Washington NFL franchise for a long time. Dolan's an idiot, and he's a coward. He won't step up and answer questions. So, who knows who they're going to get? The usual suspects, right? We got Danny Hurley. We got Brendan Malone. People are saying Jay Wright because he coached so many Nova players. We never know why people get fired. Thibs has something of a short shelf life. He's not easy to play for. He's a grinder. So maybe the players were sick of him. But if Tyrese Halliburton doesn't hit that ridiculous shot that bounces off the back iron and goes straight up in the air and back down to force overtime, and was it game 3, game 4? We're not talking about Thibs being fired. They're probably talking about the Knicks playing in the NBA Finals. So it's a real small window. It's a thin line. I can come up with more cliches if you want, and we'll never really know. It's the same thing. Why was Brendan Malone fired in Denver? Was it that Jokic didn't like him? Was it that the players weren't tuned him out? I don't know, but you're right. You go to the conference finals for the first time in 25 years. New York is abuzz about basketball again. And I love how they're considering all these big stars, quote unquote, coming out. Tracy Morgan, Timothy Chalamet,
Larry
Ben
David.
Stiller. Well, now Larry David counts as a star, but you add up the 3 that I named, they don't equal half of Jack Nicholson when he used to sit courtside for the Lakers games. And he's, every game it was the same people. Ooh, it's Kylie Jenner and Timothy Chalamet. I guarantee you, if we're doing this in 4 years, nobody will be hearing about Timothy Chalamet.
Wow, you're not a fan of his work? No, he's very good.
You don't like Dune?
I like the Bob Dylan movie, and I can't stand Bob Dylan's music, but I thought he was great in that movie.
I wouldn't watch the Bob Dylan movie because I don't want to hear somebody else trying to be Bob Dylan.
I think you'd like it. I think if you're a Dylan fan, I have friends that are Dylan fans that loved it. I just am not a fan at all of Bob Dylan. But
all right, I'll watch it at some point, I suppose.
It was good. It doesn't portray him in the best light. He does not come off as a real nice guy. I'll say that.
Well, he's not.
Yeah.
He isn't. Yeah. Although my favorite photo of all time, I don't know if you've ever seen it, he's standing in a 7-Eleven reading Baseball Digest.
Oh, no, I've never seen it.
Classic shot. It's just he standing at the newsstand reading Baseball Digest.
What was that?
Huh?
What happened?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
What happened there.
I started.
Yeah.
Left. Go ahead.
I was going to play a Timothy Chalamet clip.
Oh,
but not for air.
Oh, please don't.
He's begging, please. Hey, go ahead.
Don't beg.
I was going to say, Michael, I don't know if you've been paying much attention to what Cal Raleigh's doing out here, and we're trying to see our way clear to
the big dumper, baby. Love him.
What about that? There's something about that name. I'm not I think his mom at first was okay with it because I asked him one time, is your mom okay? And he's like, yeah, she's fine. And then they asked her in the crowd, I think a few months ago, and she's like, well, we're getting used to it or something like that.
Did she have like a Twitter handle like Mom of Dumper or Mom of Big Dumper or something like that?
It sounded like she had kind of turned a little bit. Because
it's too late, man. It's there.
Yeah.
They've got.
That's a great nickname for a catcher, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Catchers are not necessarily, some of them have the bodies of Adonis, but other ones look like kind of fire hydrants with a lot of equipment on.
Yeah.
And he's just this big old-time strong man, as my cousin would call him. And he just mashes the ball. Now, the question is, how's he going to do in August? And I'm not trying to – he's had great seasons before this, but, he's on pace to hit 64 home runs. So, the catching position wears you down. They don't call them the tools of ignorance for nothing.
Yeah, well, we were just trying to see our way clear to, okay, how does he beat out Judge? I mean, first of all, huge media market. Aaron Judge, you tell me. He comes off as like one of the nicest human beings ever. I don't think he's ever done anything, wrong, and the numbers with him, it's just he's starting to catch up to him, and I'm just trying to sell it on his real job is behind the plate, being the catcher and managing the game and the rotation and everything like that, as well as hitting bombs. But I don't know, what do you think? Any chance?
There's a chance that Seattle has to win the division, and he's got to do something epic. Right? If he's in the mix with Judge and the Yankees win their division, then he's got no shot. Because as you said, this is a guy who is Judge is a media superstar, and you're right. He's people like him, and he's scary. Have you ever been to a game where he's up? I remember when they had Giancarlo Stanton batting ahead of him, and I'm sitting 11 rows off the field, and here comes Stanton up, and he looks like Godzilla.
Yeah.
And then Judge is behind him in the order, and he looks like Godzilla squared. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's mammoth. It's like you're not a basketball player. You're an offensive. A baseball player. You're an offensive tackle. Yeah. That's what he should be, or a tight end. He's mammoth. And when he hits the ball, it's different. When you hear him hit a home run, it's different. It sounds different.
Mm.
Well, and he bucks the trend of traditional home run hitters who typically don't hit for average. They're kind of all or nothing. They strike out a lot. He's hitting 391 right now. He's got a 485 on base, hitting 391, 21 home runs, 50 runs. Look, I would love Cal to win this award, but what Judge is doing is ridiculous. And by the way, he's listed at 6'7", 282.
My God.
Because Giancarlo Stanton's 6'5".
282, right? Most guys, you say 282, and you expect them to be walking, and you hear like syrup squishing in their shoes and those donuts falling out of the top. This guy's cut.
Oh my God! I can't believe
he's only hitting 391. Wasn't he hitting over 400 a couple weeks ago? So he's really. I think he's in a bit of a mix-up, a slump. He's not playing so well.
He stinks. He was a flash in the pan. Yeah,
exactly.
He took an 0 for 4 in Sunday's game. He went 0 for 4, so that he was at 398 coming into that game, and that dropped him to 391.
I can't believe
that. Williams would have gone 5 for 6.
Yeah, I can't believe he's 282 pounds.
That's what he's listed at.
Yeah.
On the ESPN page, and Giancarlo Stanton's at 6'5".
Yeah, that's what I mean. You don't see a lot of 6'5" guys playing baseball. The football coach usually gets a hold of them. I'll never forget. I'm sitting in the Sixers media room one time when one of the reporters who was there was in the Sixers was in the Cavs. They were playing the Cavs when LeBron was still there, and happened to be in the Cavs locker room before the game, and watched LeBron get on the scale, and he weighed in at 272, and no one he had never been listed that high. He was always like 250, maybe 260. And everybody's like, oh, my goodness, he's doing all of this at 272? That's unbelievable.
Hey, how impressive is we were talking this morning, Dave and I, about the passing of Jim Marshall, who was 87 years old. But the fact that he had 282 consecutive games played. 282, and I know Brett Favre broke the record, but he's a quarterback. You're talking about a defensive end out here. 282 consecutive games. I mean, unreal. But you're a guy that loves the history of the NFL. Just any thoughts or memories of Jim Marshall?
First of all, he played in Minnesota, okay? On like October 4th, it would be 10 degrees below zero. And by November 10th, the field was like playing on the schoolyard, okay? So first of all, you had to contend with the elements that were unlike any other. You can say Buffalo, but Minnesota. The Vikings, and if you remember at Metropolitan Stadium, the players from both teams were on the same sideline. And when it started to snow and get really cold and windy to games, the players from Minnesota, and this is true, in the 60s and in the 70s would stand there and chant, Odin, Odin, oh, the Norwegian god, to try to intimidate the other team. So that's the first thing. He had the elements. Second, he played at a time when offensive linemen were basically allowed to tape a blackjack to their hand and hit you in the head as hard as they could while you were trying to hit them in the head too. It was hand-to-hand combat. Now it's dancing. Ankle flexion, hip drop, nice swim move. These guys, the offensive lineman would fire out, and he could probably hit him with a baseball bat before the official saw it. So to do that, to play that many games at that high a level, in those conditions, in those elements, it's a feat. And as you said, Brett Favre did it, but he's a quarterback. Not to denigrate quarterbacks, they get hammered by a defensive lineman, except when Michael Strahan comes in and he falls down. But it's a tremendous accomplishment. And for those of you who don't know, the Purple People Eaters, one of the great nicknames of a defense of all time, and that defensive line with Carl Eller and Alan Page and Gary Larson. Wow. Unbelievable. And that 69 team that went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Chiefs, breaking my little 8-year-old heart, was my favorite team of all time. I just love that team. Joe Kapp, playing with a single bar and running harder than any fullback.
I love that you knew Gary Larson. The Purple People Eaters. Yeah, I mean, because it's Alan Page, Carl Eller, Jim Marshall, and then Gary Larson. He's the fourth.
And Wally Hilgenberg, Lonnie Warwick, and Roy Winston were the linebackers, and defensive backs were Carl Kasulki, Paul Bryant, Bobby Bryant, Paul Krause, and Ursil Mackby, with Ed Shirachman coming off the bench if they ever went 5 defensive backs. So, I mean, it was an unbelievable defense.
Told you you'd have some stuff on that. Jeez. It's
like he just watched the team play yesterday.
Yeah. He remains.
By the way, I do. When I'm sitting at home eating lunch during the summer, I watch old This Week in Pro Football from 1969 to 1982.
Nice.
That's great. And he remains the NFL career record holder, now tied with Jason Taylor for opponent fumble recoveries with 29. Man. So 29 recovered fumbles. There you go. Great stuff as always. He is El Hombre, Michael Bradley, with us each and every Tuesday at 5 o'clock. You find him right here. You can find him on Twitter at Daily Hombre. At Daily Hombre on Twitter. Michael, we appreciate it. We'll do it again next week, my friend.
Wow, we didn't get anything.
Well, phone cut out there. Huh?
Yeah.
Right. There you go.
That's pretty. That was pretty impressive, though. Him naming off all of those guys.
Well, he's naming the bench players that would come off the bench if they go 5 defensive backs. My goodness.
Well, and also back in those days, he was trying to portray that that it was rough. You could head slap.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of legal things happening that are illegal now. The Mariners, by the way, hosting the Orioles tonight, and the T-Mobile Park roof will most certainly be open. It's a beautiful day outside. That's the Mariners Roof Report, brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Let's find out what we learned.
This is a house of learned doctors.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
What did we learn today?
No one's a bigger idiot than me.
Stupidity is the easiest way out.
By the way, I just got a text from Michael that says, damn cell phones, hit the button too early.
That's what we were saying. I think he hung up too fast. That's what we learned.
What else did we learn?
Oh, yeah, outside of that, the unusual goodbye from Michael Bradley there. We learned that you never know what you'll experience at an Aqua Sox game.
Hey, I see you got your Everett hat on today.
That's right. I had one on yesterday, too. I bought a couple of them.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, you were out there watching the young fellas, and it just made me think of that because That really is cool. I like the hat also. And then it sounds like it was just fun going out there watching those young guys. And
yeah, it's very, for those that haven't been, and for whatever reason, I just had never been to a game to see the Aqua Sox, never been in the stadium. So it was just very, Everett's not that far, but it feels almost kind of small town, kind of quaint. It was like being out at spring training. It was like being in that, but it's smaller than that stadium.
Fate brought us together in the men's room.
Oh, jeez. I'm not even going to try to explain it. Just
Bob,
let it hang.
This is somewhat of a relief for me because usually it's my stupid things that get said that are played over and over and over by Matt and Lefko. So there we go.
Ryan, I'm sure, is going to be really happy to be part of that comment there. Talking about the placard that was up on the urinal that I was using of his promoting his baseball camp. Next Gen Baseball.
Yeah.
Little plug for Ryan there.
There you go.
What else did we learn?
We're getting good promotion out of this.
That's right.
So we're doing it for Ryan. We're
He'll
doing
love
it for
it. I'm the one that said it. He's just getting the benefits of being promoted there.
Well, we learned, so the Seahawks have been unveiling the results of their top 50, and they've been doing it by position groups. And we learned today that we are eagerly anticipating when they unveil the quarterbacks who made their top 50.
I got a couple of those guys in my book, so we're gonna talk to a few of these old guys.
Yeah. I'm hoping Dave Craig makes it because I want a reason to have him on.
Now that's where we differ.
I think we should have him on either way.
Well, yeah. So he can, I don't know, complain. It's just if you argue things like, I don't know, just
stick of gum, slice of gum.
Yeah. How to say certain things, whatever.
I get such a kick out of Dave.
We gotta get Dave back on just so I can be annoyed.
Just either way, whether he gets elected, whatever you want to say, nominated, selected as one of the top 50, or if he doesn't.
Were you there the time that we had like a 7-minute conversation before the show? We even introduced him.
Yeah,
I think we were doing it from home.
Yeah, and it was just the interview. It just had started.
Yeah, he just started, and I didn't. Joining us now, none of that.
Right.
He just started. He was already talking, I think, before he said hello.
And we were going back and forth, and so you were happy to let it go. Yeah. And then, like 5 minutes later, like, by the way, this is Dave Craig.
He's a different dude, man. I get such a kick out of him.
Yeah, you never know what's gonna like trigger him one way or the other, and all of a sudden he's gonna start making comments. Or, what about the time you did this? I'm like, all right, Dave. Anyway, yeah, Dave should make it.
I would think so.
Dave Craig,
I don't know how they're doing the voting, like how many they take from each position or what have you. But
so we said it's 30, right?
There are 30. We had the numbers.
So 20 left.
There's only 20 left.
For what? How were the 5 position groups left?
Yeah. Well, if you count specialists.
Nah, we don't count.
Wide receivers.
But tight ends, linebackers, quarterbacks, wide receivers. I mean, tight ends, maybe 2.
That's not been an illustrious history of.
There'll be 1.
We've talked about Jimmy Graham being the all-time leader.
You're right. There might not be
statistically speaking of tight ends. So I don't know.
Maybe there won't be one.
What else did we learn?
Well, Brady Henderson was on. It's great to talk to him. He was excited to talk to us. Well, we learned some of us.
Our buddy Brady Henderson is here. How are you, man?
Hey, what's up, Bob and Mike? How are you?
Good to see you.
Wait, is it Bob? No, I talked to Mike on the phone. Wait, it's Bob and Dave, right? Like usual?
Yeah, the other guy here is Dave Wyman.
Hi, Brady. I'm Dave. How you doing, man?
Good.
Sorry, I just talked to. For some reason, I had it in my head that Lefko was filling in.
Yeah.
For Dave.
Well, he leaves that indelible mark after you speak with him. It takes a while to shake it off. Bob, Mike, good to talk to you.
Yeah.
Well,
next time I'll call him Brandy or something instead of Brady or whatever.
Hey, Brendan, good to talk to you.
Yeah.
Did we learn anything else?
No, that's it. That was all the learning. We learned the El Hombre thing, which is kind of shocking, honestly.
What was that? I'm sorry, Matt.
Was too early.
Oh,
so I'm glad we literally learned the reason because we were speculating back here.
Yeah, I like that he just fired off a text right away. Like, damn, cell phones.
I like that he like watches old. I guess he gets that on the internet, probably watching on his computer, watching the old. This is the NFL from like 1969 to whatever.
Boy, he ripped through that roster of the 69 Vikings like he had it on a page in front of him.
Yeah.
That's crazy recall for a team that he's not even a fan. I mean, I guess he liked them, but
yeah,
it's not a Philly team. All right. That does it for us. Our thanks to Brady Henderson, Mack Strong, and El Hombre, Michael Bradley, for joining us on the program. If you missed any part of today's show, you can find it on the podcast page at seattlesports.com. Just click the podcast tab. Scroll down to our picture. Click on that. You'll find it waiting for you right there. You got the Mariners and Orioles coming up next. We'll talk to you from the VMAC tomorrow right here with Wyman and Bob.
Brock and Salk.
Coach Macdonald, is there anything that could happen other than an injury between now and the beginning of the season that would lead to a different quarterback?
No, this is a crazy question. This is not going to, Sam's our starting quarterback. I think it's funny that the media is out there for the first day and all of a sudden they know exactly how good we're going to be and how good all the players are. And it's we don't even put on pads yet. Yeah, that was kind of a crazy question.
Brock and Salk, morning 6 to 10 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine, and you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well, and your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD, at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
So I formed Davis Law Group about 30 years ago, and I would get, the same questions from people about what to do in the case of an accident. Do you need a lawyer? To the point where I decided that I would at least write a book which would answer the common questions that I would receive as a lawyer. Once I wrote my first book, it proved to be hugely popular. I decided to write then a series of books in different accident cases so that we could really teach people about their rights, how to protect them, and how to decide on whether they need a lawyer and what lawyer to hire. I've found in my career that having a client that is educated and knowledgeable about their particular type of case really helps the client and also usually ends up making the case or the claim more successful. To get your free copy of any of my Washington accident books, visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Headed to the ballpark? Skip the traffic jams, parking fees, and the stress of driving. Make riding transit part of your game day ritual. Roll in with your crew, talk stats, and meet fans. No traffic, no stress. Community Transit riders enjoy seamless connections to light rail and ferries to get to Seattle and beyond. And youth 18 and under ride the bus for free. All in for the win. Plan your trip with Community Transit at ctgo.org/homerun.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8157. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-8157. That's 800-575-8157. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The home of the Mariners.
It is gone! Cal Raleigh, 2-run home run!
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger, Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's, and My Lowe's Pro Rewards members can save even more with limited time deals. Right now, buy one, get one half off select HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams primer and ceiling paint. Plus, get free same-day delivery to your job site when you order by 2 p.m. Offer valid through 6/13, delivery by 8 p.m., subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Dave Wyman here for Harley Exteriors, a local company serving all of Western Washington for 23 years. Olympic Series windows are offered exclusively by Harley Exteriors, manufactured right here in Washington, specifically designed for our Pacific Northwest homes and climate. This is the window you want. It looks absolutely stunning, much better than a traditional vinyl window, and these windows last up to 60 years. They're going to lower your energy bills and provide year-round comfort. They come with a double lifetime, fully transferable warranty, meaning not only are you covered for glass breaking or damaged seals, it's going to help your resale and home value. Very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest up to 12 months for qualified buyers. And this June, buy 3 windows and get 1 free, plus an additional $200 off your entire project. Think Harley Exteriors for windows, doors, and more in the Puget Sound. Call 8-333-HARLEY or go to harleyexteriors.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle